Yo, what's up? You guys can hear me, right? Um, Trump did it. Trump did it. He launched tariffs against Canada. It seems like Trump launched a trade war against Canada with 25% tariffs on most goods. A few things are exempt, but Trudeau is speaking. Let's see, it's 3 right now. Trudeau is speaking at 5 CT, so in 2 hours. Trudeau is going to come out and he's going to Trudeau's going to launch retaliatory tariffs. Trudeau is going to launch retaliatory tariffs, and it could spike an entire trade war. I want to chat about some of this because they've floated a few things, including putting tariffs on Tesla products in Canada, which would hurt Elon Musk, which would directly target one of Donald Trump's closest allies. And I want to break down just some of the implications of his tariffs, how it's really short-sighted because, I mean, there's a way to do tariffs where if you give a grace period for American manufacturers to build more plants in America, then it can help reshore manufacturing, but that's not what Trump's doing. He's bringing a sledgehammer to all of our closest alliances. Wow, this is so off the wall, sort of, but it's also what he ran on. He ran explicitly on this. Trump launches trade war against Canada with 25% tariff on most goods. U.S. president slaps 25% tariff on most Canadian goods. Keep in mind, Canada's always been one of our closest allies, so it's pretty wild. 1 second here. How's everybody doing today? Were you guys on the live stream last night? That was pretty fun. Someone said this is awful. Canada isn't effing around. Yeah, dude, the Canadian politicians have really been bringing the fire. I want to play some clips from them. I just want to talk about, in general, the response from Canada. Let me see. Anything is possible with Trump? Yeah. Did you guys see this clip? It's pretty fire. 1 second.
We are here this morning, my friends, as an unlikely group with leaders from across the political spectrum who've come together with cultural leaders, artists, academics, athletes, labor activists, and Indigenous militant activists. We represent the incredible regions of our beautiful country, and we are here for one reason. Our nation, our beloved Canada, is under threat. It is an economic threat, but it's also a threat to our values of decency and inclusion. It's a threat to our sovereignty and our very future as a nation. The threat comes, of course, from the President of the United States, a convicted felon and known predator. He's threatening massive tariffs to try and break us as a people. But the threat is also being driven by the hate algorithms of the oligarchs like Elon Musk. And there is the threat from people in our own country who would sell out our birthright to appease the gangster class from Mar-a-Lago. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, someone said this is all a distraction. No, I think this is what they want to distract from. If Trump successfully launches a trade war against Canada and they retaliate, then we'll see the distractions to distract away from the fact that Trump couldn't lower any prices. In fact, he raised prices. This guy was spitting, though. Charlie Angus was absolutely spitting. Honestly, this dude's got a stronger and more cohesive message than most Democratic politicians right now. This is a funny post. Someone texted their dad, "Are you excited for the tariffs?" And their dad said, "Yes, very much. Looking forward to it. I want prices to go up so that those idiots who voted for him because he was going to bring prices down will understand." And I can empathize. Yep, Elon Musk said we'll have to suffer for a while. And Trump said that. I thought this was funny, too. Someone shared a text from a year back where someone said, "Hey there, Michael. My name is Noah for JD Vance for Senate. Have you noticed your local gas prices have gone up?" And someone said, "Even if gas was $100 a gallon, I wouldn't vote for JD rat fuckface Vance, you low-life piece of shit. Also, my name isn't Michael. Quit your job and KYS." Sorry. What else do you say to that? What else do you say? But this is called dark woke, going dark woke, which means kind of throwing back in their face the way that they talk about us. But what is up, everybody? We got any Canadians in the chat? Someone said, I stand by Canada to protect themselves. Based. Yeah. Just Jamie, thank you so much. He's only doing this because we have a trade deficit with Canada. But of course we do. They have about 12% of the population, so they don't consume as much. He's so ignorant, keeps saying countries pay us. Our relationship with Canada is very mutually beneficial, but Trump thinks we're being ripped off. Or I don't even know if he truly believes that. He just thinks that he has to posture towards them. Oh, so we have a lot of Canadians in chat. I feel like you guys, I want to see. So here's the thing. Trudeau is going to come on stage in about an hour or two. Trudeau is going to announce the retaliatory tariffs at 5 p.m. CT, 6 p.m. Central. I should still be live then. And we're going to see what Trudeau is going to do. I hope he does not concede anything. I hope he does not take it easy on Trump. I hope that Trump faces the full consequences of his actions, right? Let me start a poll. All right, make sure to drop a like on the stream, and let's jump in with some of the news today. So first of all, I guess even before we talk about the tariffs that were just launched, Trudeau already floated. The people around him already floated, putting a retaliatory tariff on Canada, on Tesla products. Listen to this. There's a famous quote from the movie Roadhouse that's useful for all sorts of situations. Be nice until it's not time to be nice. The people of Canada, by and large, are famous the world over for being very nice. But clearly, the current tariff situation in the U.S. has some of them getting ready to not be nice. Any Roadhouse fans in here? In an interview with the Canadian press, the country's Liberal Party leadership candidate, Chrystia Freeland, suggested 100% tariffs be applied to a number of U.S.-sourced goods. God bless us all. Damn. In response to President Trump's threatened tariffs on Canada and Mexican imports, Freeland said those could include wine, beer, and all Teslas specifically. Stock up on your alcohol. And yes, this is because of the Tesla CEO's financial and operational support of Trump. Quote, we need to be very targeted, very surgical, and very precise, Freeland told the news outlets. To continue, Tesla's EVs sold in Canada are made in the US as well as China. Canadian tariffs would then raise their prices in that country, leading EV buyers to turn to other automakers instead, therefore directly hurting Elon Musk. See, this is what we need to do. It needs to be a direct surgical retaliation, not us. This is what Canada needs to do. You need to show Donald Trump. You need to slap him across the face and show him, dude, you can't just bully other countries like this, especially our closest allies. It seems like we have a lot of Canadians in the chat. How are you guys feeling today? How are the Canadians feeling? Because, coming from, I think most Americans in this chat would say, sorry, I guess, even though we didn't vote for Trump, sorry. Freeland added, one of the characteristics of the Trump administration is they like to traffic in uncertainty. There are lots of reports about there being internal debates in the U.S., so let's use that to our advantage. Let's put some cards on the table and be very clear that if they hit us, we will hit them back. It's so necessary. I really hope Canada doesn't metaphorically bend the knee. Someone said until someone stands up and stops Trump, he's going to keep doing it. Yeah. I bought a Kia Niro instead of a Tesla. Someone said scared in Ottawa. There's no reason to be scared. I mean, yeah, it's scary economically, but yeah. Freeland, Canada's former finance minister, is running for the Liberal Party leadership spot currently held by Prime Minister Trudeau. Last year, Freeland resigned from her finance minister post, in part over disagreements on how to respond to Trump's economic threats. Musk was Trump's largest financier during the campaign and is now leading his efforts to reduce the U.S. federal government workforce, complete with similar tactics used to do mass layoffs at Twitter, which he purchased and renamed X. And keep in mind, some of the stuff that Elon Musk is doing is quite frightening. We won't talk about this too much until later in the stream, but I read this a few times last night. Just listen to this because it's important. Elon Musk's staff has been caught plugging hard drives inside the Office of Personnel Management, the OPM, the Treasury Department, and the General Services Administration. His staff encountered resistance when demanding that Treasury officials grant access to systems managing the flow of more than $6 trillion annually to programs like Social Security and Medicare. Tensions then escalated when Musk's aides were discovered at OPM accessing systems, including a vast database known as the Enterprise Human Resources Integration, which contains sensitive information such as date of birth, social security numbers, performance appraisals, home addresses, pay grades, length of service for government employees. What's up, Kathy Harvey? Howdy. And length of service for government employees. In response to employees speaking out, Musk's aides locked civil servants out of computers and offices with reports of personal items being searched. Now, we have some corroboration on this from Reuters. Exclusive. Musk aides lock the Office of Personnel Management workers out of computer systems. And we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this all, but let's continue talking about the tariffs and the retaliatory tariffs against Elon Musk. So Musk was Trump's largest financier during the campaign and is now leading efforts to reduce the U.S. federal workforce, so Canada is trying to take a targeted approach and hit where it hurts. Broadly speaking, Canada has seen quicker EV, electric vehicle adoption, than the U.S., and in the third quarter of 2024, nearly 17% of new cars sold in Canada, about 1 in 6, were all electric, compared to the 8% of the U.S., 8% that the U.S. finished the year at. Quebec in particular has strong incentives that have driven significant EV adoption. Not surprisingly, Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada, with the Model Y and Model 3 leading by a wide margin. One more time. Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada, and certain people in Canada are floating retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. that target Tesla vehicles perfectly. There are other tariffs you can do regarding red states that would target red states perfectly. For example, if they tariff potash or something of the sort, that could slam red states. We'll talk about that more. But Tesla is the top-selling EV brand in Canada. More recent statistics aren't available, but in 2023, Tesla sold at least 60,000 of those two models, the Model Y and Model 3, in Canada alone. So while that's around 10% of what Tesla sells in the US, a presumptive price spike from tariffs would certainly hurt Tesla and America's neighbor to the north. Someone said, I love your live streams. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yo, if you enjoy the live streams, all that I ask is that you drop a like and a blue hearts or whatever. That's just, it helps boost it in the algorithm. It's free too. Trump's 25% tariffs on, that situation would also come after Tesla's first full year of global sales decline, in a time when many buyers and current Tesla owners are fleeing from the brand in response to Musk's political maneuvering and public controversies, like him doing an effing Sieg Heil, like the Nazi salute. There's this really funny video that I'll have to find where someone is driving a Tesla. Oh, hell yeah. I love the blue hearts. Have you guys seen these stickers? I bought this before Elon went crazy. People are putting this on their Tesla. just to show. I bought this before Elon went crazy. Oh, back to this article, though. Yo, T. Gorel, thank you so much. Chas, thank you, Adam. New to your channel. How can we stop this madness? It's only been 12 days. I mean, right now they have all three branches of government, so we just have to win in the information sphere. We got mopped in the information sphere in 2024, whether we like it or not. So winning in the information sphere, I think, is step one. But let's continue breaking this down. So Tesla's first full year of global sales decline just happened, and buyers are currently maneuvering away. It's not only because of Musk's political controversies. It's honestly a lot of it's due to new competitors. Like, look at this. Look at this article. Tesla sales dropped 1.1% in 2024, its first annual decline in a dozen years. And if Canada can play this right, if they can be a little bit clever and outmaneuver Trump, which it's not a hard thing to do, then you can really hurt Elon Musk or hit Elon Musk where it hurts. Tesla posted its first annual sales drop in more than a dozen years on Thursday, undercutting a stock that has soared since Donald Trump's victory on optimism. Elon Musk's close relationship to the president will help the company. But let's go back to this. This situation would come, the retaliatory tariffs against Tesla that are targeted would come after Tesla's first full year of global sales declines. Trump's 25% tariffs on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico are set to begin this weekend. This was written yesterday. There was little mention of tariffs on Tesla's fourth quarter earnings call this week, save for a brief statement from the CFO. Quote, "There's a lot of uncertainty around tariffs," he said. "Over the years, we tried to localize our supply chain in every market, but we are still very reliant on parts from across the world for all of our businesses. Therefore, the imposition of tariffs, which is very likely, will have an impact on our business and profitability." Boom! Hit Elon Musk where it hurts. Do it. And if more countries follow Freeland's suggestion to decide to penalize Tesla directly over Musk's ties to Trump, it could make these trade wars all the more personal for the billionaire CEO and the president alike. God, I would love to see Elon Musk face some sort of accountability. Now, don't get your hopes up too high. I don't think Canada on day one is going to just nuke all of Tesla's profitability, but I don't think it would be unfair for other countries to kind of create a coalition to put America in pain. And this is coming from someone who loves America. Like everyone in this chat, we should be the ones that are always saying we want to put America first. Maybe not with that exact language because it's a phrase that's been worn out. But aren't we the ones who genuinely want to have healthy alliances? We want to have a good economy. We want to make sure that people have health care. We are the party that wants to make sure we can put America first when it comes to health care or alliances across the globe or any of that stuff. Hi from Des Moines. What's up? I made my first ever video in Des Moines. Built my career in Iowa. We are the ones that really care about America, and that should be the message. But this brings us on to today. A few hours ago, Trump launched a trade war against Canada with 25% tariffs on most goods. President Trump launched a trade war against Canada on Saturday by imposing a 25% tariff on virtually all goods from the U.S.'s neighbor. Sometimes you got to hurt the ones that you love the most, yeah? Meaning the U.S. and Canada, Canada hurting the U.S. This is an unprecedented strike against a long-standing ally that has the potential to throw the economy into a tailspin. Trump's long-threatened plan to inflict economic pain on Canada has materialized on the day he said it would after he moved back the timeline multiple times, and it includes a 10% tariff on Canadian energy products, according to a senior Canadian official who shared the details of Trump's plan with CBC News. And like I said, there's a way to impose tariffs where you allow the reshoring of manufacturing and you give a grace period for companies to build manufacturing plants in the U.S., but whether we like it or not, a lot of these plants, manufacturing plants, use immigrant labor. So there's a few contradictory things going on right here. How are you going to, number one, do mass deportations while also trying to reshore manufacturing, which would lead to a direct lack of labor? Labor is important. All right. These potentially devastating tariffs will take effect on Tuesday and remain in place until Trump is satisfied that Canada is doing enough to stop the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. Most fentanyl comes from the southern border. It kind of just feels like he doesn't know what he wants, to be honest. Oh, wow. We also have this. Hedge funds just made a massive bet on a stock market crash that raises the alarm for 401ks and risks ire of Trump. Let's read this in one more second. Let's finish this first article, but hedge funds are making a bet that the stock market will crash, which raises alarms. We'll read this in 1 second, but let's go back to this article. These potentially devastating tariffs will take effect on Tuesday. Canada is expected to hit back later Saturday with retaliatory tariffs of its own to make Trump think twice about taking on his country's biggest customer. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is expected to make an announcement at 6 p.m. ET, which is 5 p.m. Central, which is less than 2 hours from now. Trudeau's going to come on stage. Canadians are waiting to see the details of the promised U.S. tariffs. Oh, this is an earlier version of the story. Now let's go on to this article. Yo, 10,000 live viewers. What is up? Welcome, everybody. Love every single one of you. We're right now talking about Trump placing a 25% tariff on Canada. He officially did it. He officially did it. Trump to hit Canada with 25% tariff on Tuesday, but oil imports will get a 10% levy. Listen, here's the thing. He made the announcement today, but just think about this. When he was campaigning, he said on day one, he would impose tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. He threw out crazy numbers, 100% tariffs, 50% tariffs. He said on day one. Well, when he gets into office, on day one, he moved it back a week. He said, later this week, we're going to impose tariffs. When that date came, he moved it to February 1st. Well, now it's February 1st, and he just moved it to Tuesday, which will be what, the 4th? February 4th? So he keeps moving the timeline back, and I just really hope Canada doesn't capitulate. I really hope Justin Trudeau does not capitulate. Trump to hit Canada with 25% tariff on Tuesday. He's imposing his long-awaited tariffs. Though oil imports will not be hit as hard, he made an exemption for those. Canadian officials told the New York Times that the U.S. government informed them on Saturday that a 25% tariff will go into effect on Tuesday, but oil will carry a 10% duty. So, Canada is told steep tariffs will come Tuesday. Lord have mercy on all of us. Let's read this really quickly. Hedge funds are making a multi-million-dollar gamble against the U.S. economy, betting Donald Trump's presidency will result in a market crash that could devastate 401ks, pensions, and household savings across America. This is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. And as much as we like to read stuff like this, I read this earlier. Someone texted their dad, "Are you excited for tariffs?" And their liberal dad was like, "Yes, very much. Looking forward to it. I want prices to go up so those idiots who voted for him because he was going to bring prices down will understand." Let me read this one more time. This text from about a year ago, 2 years ago when J.D. Vance was campaigning. Somebody said, one of the managers or campaign staffer said, "Hi there, Michael. My name's Noah for J.D. Vance for Senate. Have you noticed your local gas prices have gone up? Yes or no?" And he responded, "Even if gas was $100 a gallon, I wouldn't vote for J.D. rat fuckface Vance. You low-life piece of shit. Also, my name isn't Michael. Quit your job and kill yourself." Jesus Christ. I mean, what else do you say? Where were we? We were talking about the stock market piece. Yeah, okay. Data from Goldman Sachs has sent shockwaves through financial circles, revealing a dramatic surge in a short position against U.S. stocks, a move that signals a belief the market is headed for a crash. Precipitous crash. Not just a crash, but precipitous crash. Throughout January, investors placed 10 times more bets on America's stocks falling than on their continued rise. And remember, for all of the shit that people gave Biden about inflation, if you look up the S&P 500, which is just an index with the top 500 countries in the U.S., top 500 companies, including Apple, including Google, including Tesla, including all of these countries. If we go to the 5-year chart, dude, the stock market was ripping under Biden. You can even see the COVID sort of dip right here, or maybe the COVID dip was even a little bit before this. The stock market was hitting all-time highs under Biden, but now we have seen a 10 times increase in bets on America's stocks falling throughout the Trump presidency rather than rising. The timing of such financial revolt is no coincidence and comes just as the world witnessed a $600 billion wipeout in major U.S. tech stocks earlier this week, driven by fears over the Chinese AI rival DeepSeek. And that's not even mentioning the tariffs. The Magnificent Seven, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, all suffered massive losses, leaving investors scrambling for answers. The latest hedge fund moves mark a staggering reversal from just 2 months ago. Do you guys hear those sirens? Just 2 months ago, when Wall Street billionaires were pouring money into so-called Trump trades. I mean, the only Trump trade you can make right now is shorting his shitcoin. All right, following the election victory, hedge funds rushed to capitalize on what they predicted would be a golden era for corporate America, buoyed by Trump's aggressive tax cuts, tariffs, and deregulation policies. Does that lead to a golden era? The optimism led to an unprecedented influx of capital, Fund managers were riding high, but now, in a shocking twist, those same hedge fund managers are betting against the very economy they once championed. And while hedge fund billionaires stand to make hundreds of millions from a stock market collapse, the real victims of this financial gamble could be everyday American investors. 12K viewers. I love every single one of you. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And my question to you is, 12 days into his presidency, do you feel safe in Trump's America? That's just the golden question right there. Do you feel safe in Trump's America? And I want to see what people say in chat here. And Victor, put this in the video. Do you feel safe in Trump's America? No. Nope. Nope. Hell no. Hell no. Not safe. Nope. Someone said, don't fly. Someone said, I've never been more afraid. Glad I live in Sweden. Much love to Canada and Mexico. I don't even feel safe in Canada. Someone said Canadian not stepping one foot in the U.S. Someone said cluster. You could probably guess what word goes after that. Not safe at all. Not safe at all. Victor, this can be the hook for the video. Hell no. Hell no. Someone said, I feel safe in Canada. Yeah, I mean, someone said terrified, and they spelled it like tariff. That's pretty funny. All right, back to these stories. Back to these articles. Really quickly, Warren Coker, thank you. Interview Garrett Gore about Opus DEI and their current connections to our political systems. J.D. Vance, Kevin Roberts. T. Gorel, thank you so much. I always love seeing you here. Sending love from the UK, says Paul Hamby. Adam, people like you are so important to break down and give context. I appreciate that. I like to think we're kind of in like an information war right now. And I feel like everyone watching this stream, we're all in the front lines of this information war. Rainbow said, as a trans, bi, disabled veteran, the only bullet I'm dodging is deportation. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Glad that you're staying here. Someone said, thanks for your great work. Greetings from Germany. Greetings. How do people from Germany feel about Elon Musk endorsing the AFD? Pretty wild. Millions of workers currently rely on their 401ks. Tam, thank you. Millions of workers currently rely on their 401ks and pension funds to secure their futures. Yet as hedge funds place enormous bets on a Wall Street wipeout, these savings accounts could be the next to suffer. And if you're just joining now, Canadian officials have been told that steep tariffs will come on Tuesday, but I feel like this is a form of Trump kind of bitching out a little bit. Here's the thing. Do you guys remember about a week ago? Of course you remember, when Trump tried to place tariffs and visa sanctions and multiple types of sanctions on Colombia, yet he reversed that decision within 2 hours. Within 2 hours, he entirely reversed that position, and it's because he cares about the optics. He cares about optical wins rather than actual wins. Donna Leak, thank you so much. Opus DEI, pronounced day, is a Catholic cult. Oh, I thought it was about DEI. Dow Jones today, 44K up. All right, wow. Canadian officials said they were notified on Saturday by the U.S. government that the country's goods will be subject to a 25% tariff and a 10% rate for Canadian oil starting on Tuesday, without the proper timeline to allow manufacturing plants to rebuild. If you want to reshore manufacturing, that's fine. There's a way to do it. And even Elon Musk has talked about this exact thing. Lori, thank you so much. I love having you here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who's here. It means more than you know. He will lose money too. Yeah, I mean, Trump will lose money. Elon Musk right now seems like he could be hyper-targeted by retaliatory tariffs, which, oh my Lord, that would feel so good. I'm sorry to my Canadian friends who would then bear the brunt of it because prices of Teslas would go up. But also, there's no reason to buy Teslas anymore. There's so many other competitors. And also, I mean, it's going to hurt American citizens too, but the one person who needs to feel some pain is Elon Musk. He can't just have no accountability whatsoever. Businesses and officials in Canada, Mexico, and China were bracing for more details on Saturday and promised tariffs after days of trying to persuade Trump not to go ahead with them. But I mean, dude, they're being so vague. So what I was saying about Colombia is that Trump cared more about the optics of a win than actually taking a win. So when he cares more about the optics, we could take that same exact mindset and place it here. What Trump could very well do is act like he's going to place tariffs, maybe even place them for a few days, and then after the smallest concession from Trudeau, he removes the tariffs, he claims victory. And my question is, would the MAGA supporters go along with him and say, oh, Trump won? Of course they would. Of course the MAGA supporters would think that Trump won. I mean, he could... Have you ever heard the joke, how many MAGA supporters does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is, none. Trump would tell them it's fixed and they'd sit in the dark clapping for him. Good old dad joke. BYD has an electric vehicle for $10K. Yeah, there's a lot of competition in the market right now. There's a lot of competition. Let me check this out really quickly.
Take a look at this, the Dow Jones. Oof. And specifically notice when it starts getting red, right around 1:30 or so. Yeah, in the last hour, Wall Street investors appear to be rattled after the White House said that President Trump is sticking to his February 1st deadline for new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Tariffs that could raise prices for many products that Americans buy, potentially stoking inflation. Let's get the latest from CNN's Matt Egan. Matt, what can you tell us about these tariffs and what it could mean for the price of everyday goods?
Well, Boris, we could be on the verge of the first shots being fired in what would be a trade war in North America. Because remember, it's not just these 25% tariffs that have been threatened by President Trump on Canada and on Mexico. It's also the retaliation that they have promised as well. And as you pointed out, this did not go over so well on Wall Street. The moment that this news came out from the White House that the tariffs are still on track to happen, we did see a noticeable dip in the stock market with the...
That only backs up what we were saying over here. Hedge fund managers are betting on a massive crash. Oh my Lord. Why does it never end? Wait, what the hell? Breaking news. Active shooter reports in Nashville. Is this right now? Is it a fight? It might just be a fight. Oh, a fight leads to a rush mass exit. So we don't know anything yet. We don't know anything yet. Let me go back to this video.
The Dow moving solidly lower. Now, look, we don't know exactly what's going to happen here. It's still possible that President Trump decides to delay when these tariffs get implemented or cancel them altogether. But we do know that he views these tariffs as sort of a magical negotiating tool that can solve almost any problem. Of course, this would be a risky gamble because the United States imports a lot of goods from Canada and from Mexico, not to mention from China as well. Last year alone, the U.S. imported $400 billion of goods from Canada, everything from oil and minerals to cement, wood, and paper goods. This is also a major place where the United States imports food from Mexico in particular, right? Roughly 90% of the avocados that get imported into the United States come from Mexico. Same thing for tomatoes. The auto industry in North America is also very closely linked together. That's why analysts have said that tariffs like this would be devastating to the auto industry and would lift the price of the average cost sold, the cost of the average car sold in the United States by $3,000.
Damn, $3,000. Here's the thing. Trump is kind of being a little bit of a bitch because Canada and Mexico have not yet bent the knee. They have not yet given Trump what he wants, and they shouldn't. They should not. And what Trump is doing is he keeps moving back the timeline. If Trump were actually a true believer in tariffs like he says, he would impose them today. He would have imposed them on day one. But he keeps pushing it back. So when today comes, oh my Lord, think about it. When February 1st comes, what Trump does is he pushes it back to February 4th. And he says, okay, Tuesday. He gave them a warning today. He gave them a warning, which kind of tells me, dude, you're scared to put the tariffs on. He is scared. Speaking to reporters from the Oval Office on Friday, Mr. Trump said he would impose the levies as punishment for Canada, Mexico, and China, allowing drugs and migrants to flood into the United States. The tariffs already began. No, the tariffs haven't actually began. He threatened to impose tariffs on Tuesday, which he's been threatening these for months. And like I said, if you're just joining, Canada has floated in response micro-targeting Elon Musk's companies, surgically targeting Tesla and other things that would hurt Elon Musk, so the people around Trump are hit the hardest. Yeah, it was supposed to start today. What's up, Mentino? Why do you keep saying bro? Yeah, someone said it was supposed to start today, right? Yeah, it was supposed to start today, and he continues pushing it back. Donna Leak, thank you so much. E-Shock, thank you. Paul Harder, welcome to the membership club. Y'all are the best. Scott Denny, what's up? Love you, Adam. You've been doing brilliant work for the past few months and proud that you're a fellow Hoosier. Yes, sir. I'm from Indiana, but I currently live in Chicago. Valerie Sanders, what's up? Adam, we appreciate your dedication and hard work. I appreciate all of you guys. Let's keep reading. And by the way, thank you, NC Beach fan. Thank you, Valerie. White House officials originally said they plan to start the tariffs on Saturday. Well, they originally said they plan to start the tariffs on day one, but they keep on moving it back because Trump is kind of a little bitch. He's scared, and they know the consequences. Kaylee N says, new subscriber. Well, welcome to the channel. I think you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to be making some really good content over the next few years. We have some really cool plans. It's taking some time to set up the studio and everything, but we have some really cool plans. Kind of a little bitch? Yeah, you're right. He's totally a little bitch. Is he baiting Trudeau? It's not that he's baiting Trudeau, it's just he's trying to get any sort of concession so he can make it seem like he took a win. He's trying to get any sort of concession so he can take an optical win. But Canada's not taking the... Yeah, they're not taking the bait. Canada's not taking the bait whatsoever. He is baiting Trudeau in a way. And now them refusing to take the bait has Trump continually moving the timeline back. Now, there are also theories that I read. These are just theories that Trump wants to impose these tariffs. He wants to hurt Canada as sort of a pretext to military movement there. I don't know if that's actually true. I don't know. I wouldn't take it that far, but I have read things like that. Best independent news. Thank you so much. Indiana in the house. Yes, sir, representing. Speaking to reporters from the Oval Office on Friday, Mr. Trump said he would impose the levies on Saturday. Didn't do it. Trump is now spending the weekend as Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida and has no public events listed. The president is expected to sign an executive order putting the tariffs into effect and could do so retroactively, but the lack of clarity surrounding what exactly Mr. Trump planned to impose created even more uncertainty for global business. Experts believe the tariffs could have broad impacts on the U.S., Canadian, and Mexican economies. He still hasn't stopped the war in Ukraine. Yeah, it seems like he's hitting a huge roadblock with Ukraine. We can talk about that in a bit too, because they've completely dropped the ball. Well, first of all, they didn't drop the ball. They set up a very unrealistic and delusional effing timeline. Trump was somehow under the assumption that Vladimir Putin was a good faith negotiator, that he was going to come to the table in good faith. Vladimir Putin is the opposite of good faith. We should have treated him like Winston Churchill treated Hitler. You guys know Winston Churchill refused to ever speak or negotiate with Hitler because Hitler had broken multiple different treaties before and continued his invasion. And Winston Churchill had this entire theory that you can't negotiate with a bad faith actor. And we should have just done that with Putin, right? But the price of eggs. Yeah. The price of eggs are crazy. The Trump egg prices. Oh, this isn't even the most... Oh, this is not even the most updated chart. One second. Where's the chart I was looking at the other day? Is this the updated one? Oh, it goes... Ooh. Right as Trump is taking office. And it sucks. Like, the thing is... I know we kind of say Trump egg prices, Trump causes, but it's like, dude, Trump is genuinely trying to pull the wool over American people while other prices are being raised. And he also cut off communications with the CDC. He's nuking the NIH. All of these different institutions that would be amazing to have. All of these institutions that would be amazing to have communication with during all of this would are now being nuked. Someone said, what about gas prices? I can pull up the gas price chart, but look at this. Fat Cat, thank you so much for dog treats. I wish my dog was here. He's at my parents' place back in Indiana. I miss that chunky little dude. But Trump tariffs could hurt oil companies and increase gas prices. God, this guy is so spineless. How does he keep moving the date back? Officials in multiple nations have been working on retaliation plans, gearing up for what might become a North American trade war. U.S. stock markets closed lower on Friday amid anxiety among investors about the fallout from the tariffs. Lobbying groups for industries such as retail and agriculture, which could be among the hardest hit by retaliation from America's trading partners, were scrambling for information about the levies, but remained in the dark. Musk is robbing us blind, while Trump tariffs, it's more serious on the inside than people realize. He's dangerous to us all. Honestly, the most dangerous thing happening right now, there's a few things. The NIH being essentially nuked is incredibly scary. Trump firing a bunch of inspector generals is incredibly scary. And it's a perfect example of flooding the zone. Are you guys familiar with Steve Bannon's flooding the zone strategy? It comes from Steve Bannon. I think he originated it. I'm 90% sure. Please talk about the DNC chair if you haven't already. Absolutely. Absolutely, I got you. Okay, sorry. Flood the zone with BS. Now, this is a strategy that Trump is using, and then we'll go back to the tariffs. How misinformation overwhelmed our democracy. This is a perfect example of how authoritarians take advantage of the media. Someone said, I'm not aware of the flood the zone strategy. Really quickly, let me just show you. Despite all of the incontrovertible facts around Donald Trump, his felonies, everything he's done, what they do is they flood the zone with so many stories at once that it's hard for your enemies to keep up with it, and you get overwhelmed. BT, thank you so much. So, for example, over the past week, Trump has fired inspector generals, Trump's inspector general surge. He's gutted the FAA, the TSA, multiple key aviation committees. He's frozen federal grant funding. He's removed the security detail from Mark Milley, Fauci, all of these people. And when you just take all of this together, how is one news station supposed to possibly cover this all in a responsible way? Because then at some point, it just seems like we're the ones that are freaking out at every single move. So he floods the zone with so much BS that people just begin to tune out. The FBI. See, exactly. Someone in just chat said you forgot the FBI. It's because they flooded the zone with so much BS that I can list like 100 things and I can still forget a few things he's done. He's fired the FBI. I mentioned the NIH. I mentioned the CDC communications. Oh, I didn't fully mention how he's basically, where did the tweet go? How Elon Musk is doing a hostile takeover. Look at this. People are saying, I bought this before Elon went crazy. The best Tesla sticker. Let me show you really quickly this clip that we watched earlier from Charlie Angus. We need more of this.
We are here this morning, my friends, as an unlikely group with leaders from across the political spectrum who've come together with cultural leaders, artists, academics, athletes, labor activists, and indigenous militant activists. We represent the incredible regions of our beautiful country, and we are here for one reason. Our nation, our beloved Canada, is under threat. It is an economic threat, but it's also a threat to our values of decency and inclusion. It's a threat to our sovereignty and our very future as a nation. The threat comes, of course, from the President of the United States, a convicted felon and known predator. He's threatening massive tariffs to try and break us as a people. But the threat is also being driven by the hate algorithms of the oligarchs like Elon Musk. And there is the threat from people in our own country who would sell out our birthright to appease the gangster class from Mar-a-Lago. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Oh,
We are
sorry, I
here
didn't
this
realize
morning,
that I was
my
covering
friend.
up the screen right there. But I just got a breaking news alert that we need to talk about. Breaking news. All right. See, flooding the zone with so much BS. Breaking news. Elon Musk's lieutenants now have access to the payment system that releases federal funds after a standoff with a Treasury official. What in the hostile takeover is happening right now? Someone said, I'm glad I finally caught a live stream. Hell yeah. Make sure you have post notifications on, and when I go live, you can be here from the beginning, and we can just chill out and chat. Yikes. Let's find this New York Times article really quickly. Thank you, Blasty. He's getting rid of NPR for Breitbart. Yep, this is dictator behavior. NPR for Breitbart, the New York Post. Thank you, Chris Bow. Thank you, Abellis. Let's find this article really quickly. Oh my Lord. Elon Musk has gained access to a powerful tool to control government spending. The richest man in the world officially has control over the federal government's payment system, the New York Times has reported. We may live in the worst timeline. And if you guys are just joining really quickly, let me just run down what's happening. Trump has announced that he's putting massive tariffs on Canada. He's been pushing it back, pushing the timeline back, trying to get any concessions from Trudeau or whoever. He hasn't been able to. So he announced today, or he told Canada today, he's doing tariffs, but on Tuesday, he's pushing it back even further. And what you guys will appreciate is that a lot of Canadian officials are finding ways to push back. And one of the ways they're thinking of pushing back is making Tesla, Elon Musk in particular, pay a price. They are looking at surgical tariffs to hurt. I'm not going to read this whole article. In an interview with the Canadian press, the country's Liberal Party leadership candidate, Freeland, suggested 100% tariffs be applied to a number of U.S.-sourced goods, including beer, wine, Teslas. Quote, we need to be very targeted, very surgical, and very precise, Freeland told the news outlet. And at this point, it just feels like a suicide pact. Like Trump is like, it's like he wants to hurt American people with the off chance that it's going to slightly hurt Canada. And now people in Canada are like, hey, we can do retaliatory tariffs that will hurt us, but it'll also hurt the U.S. a little bit. So it's almost like he's creating a suicide pact. At some point, other countries are going to have to come together and create a trade alliance or an agreement without America. And I don't want that to happen, but if we're going to be such an unreliable trading partner, then what else do you do? Like, read this. Like, this is insane. Trump wants to renegotiate his own trade deal with Mexico and Canada. And this was written before the election. So it still all applies, but this was written before the election. What's up, everybody? We're heading towards 1,300 people watching live. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the Mockler channel. Everything here is free, so make sure you subscribe to the Mockler channel, drop a like, turn on post notifications. All of those take 1 second. It's all below the video. Former President Donald Trump is once again pledging to save American manufacturing and bring back jobs by rewriting a trade agreement that he wrote. Instead of replacing NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which he has often described as the worst trade deal ever made, he wants to renegotiate his own trade deal. What an unreliable piece of orange. Never mind. Trump signed onto the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, in 2018. It took effect in January of 2020 and replaced NAFTA. He spent a while negotiating that. He thought he was super clever, and now he wants to go back on his own trade agreement. What's up? Welcome to Mockler's Mafia. Thank you, Abellis. Means more than you know. Oh, did I say 1,200? I meant 12,000 watching. Wow. What's up, everyone? Thank you for informing the public on what's going on since the mainstream media is dropping the ball. Thank you, Miss Party, so much. You're a force. I'm Laura. Sink is a joke since I live the Jersey Shore. What's up, Snooky Cookie? Thank you so much, Laura. It's just absolutely wild that Trump is now trying to renegotiate his own trade agreement, which is kind of conceding in a way that his first, okay, it's a few things. First of all, in that he's conceding that his first trade agreement wasn't good, but also it shows that we're not a reliable ally in any way, shape, or form. Trump is basically leading to the end of American hegemony across the globe. Like, we right now benefit from the power structures at play. We right now benefit from America setting the global standards on international relations rather than countries like China, Iran, Russia. Do we want Russia setting the standards on all of this? Because if we do, think about it. If Russia is setting the standards, it would be okay to just invade your next door neighbor. But the thing is, Trump is already floating that same thing of invading, or he's not ruling out military coercion. But back to the articles we were reading. Let's finish this.
Now, meanwhile, there's also the risk that all of this could lift gasoline prices because Canada is the biggest source of foreign oil into the United States. The U.S. imports about 4 million barrels of oil from Canada every single day. Look at that. That's 4 times as much as what is imported from OPEC. Mexico is also a major source of foreign oil. And Big Oil, the oil industry, is pleading with the White House to shield oil and natural gas from these imports. They're warning that Canada is just such a crucial source of oil into the refineries that what could happen is you could see gasoline prices go significantly higher. Gas Buddy has said that if these 25% tariffs go into effect, gas prices in the Great Lakes region could go up by up to 50 cents per gallon. Similarly, go significantly higher in the Midwest and in the Rocky Mountains as well. And so that's why we've got to pay very close attention to what happens next and whether or not the White House ends up putting the tariffs in place, but perhaps having some sort of a carve out so that it doesn't impact gasoline prices. Because
he is doing that. He put a carve out in. Honestly, I have a feeling Trump's going to completely bitch out of the tariffs. But really quickly, you know who is really emerging as a good leader, who I need to get on my show? Is Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker is emerging as an amazing, amazing leader. Let's listen to this quick clip of him talking about tariffs.
Pardoning January 6th rioters who injured and provided injuries that ultimately killed police officers. That's an attack on police. When you take away funding like they did this week from police departments across the state of Illinois and across the country, we have task forces that are working on fighting drugs and violent crime and taking out the drug cartels and gangs, right? When you take away funding from those things, you're hurting law enforcement and, frankly, ultimately leading to more crime, not less. So I think Donald Trump, it's a reckless set of policies that he's engaging in. And he, ultimately he promised that he was going to lower costs for Americans. He promised that he was going to make us safer. And he's done none of that. And I realize he's only been in office 2 weeks, but it's gotten worse, not better. You think your prices at the grocery store have gone down in the last 10 days? No, they've gone up because of what he is threatening or what he's already put in place.
Yep. Well said. I could see Pritzker making a solid run next election season, 2028. I could see Pritzker making a really solid run. Oh, wait, there's more.
Look, we should have taken some signal from the idea that at the front row at Donald Trump's inauguration, he had literally the wealthiest people in America standing right behind him. He thought they were the ones that he should show off to Americans. They're the ones who are going to get the massive tax cuts that he's planning that are only going to be affordable if he cuts services for middle-class Americans and working Americans and most vulnerable in the United States. So I think it should be clear to everybody, and Democrats need to be standing up and speaking out in this moment and not being mamby-pamby about how they're responding to what Donald Trump is trying to do. He may have failed last week in the attempt last week, but this is his aim. He's going to keep trying to do it over and over and over again, and that's taking away things for the middle class and working class people in our country need.
Yep. He said people shouldn't be namby-pamby. I never heard that phrase before. Namby-pamby means lacking in substance, weak, indecisive. You know, as much as I'm a Democrat, we have been quite namby-pamby lately.
Namby-pamby.
We have. We absolutely have, no? Mump? What does that mean? Yeah, like, it's not even the Democrats are spineless. Someone said Democrats are like, we know what we believe in, but people are just a little bit, I don't know, we lack the punch or the cohesion in messaging. Mamby-pamby is a British phrase. I'm going to start using that in videos. I'm going to start speaking like, just using really foreign phrases. Back to this.
Boris, if we've learned anything the last few years, it's that people care very much about how much the price of gasoline is.
It's perhaps part of the reason the price of everyday goods, why Donald Trump got elected. And we should quickly point out, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, was asked about exceptions specifically for oil and oil products, and she didn't have any specifics. She said that we would find out within the next 24 hours. So Matt Egan will check in again once these tariffs are rolled out to see whether there was a carve out or not. Thanks so much, Matt. In one survey of economists, 95% agree that tariffs will likely mean higher prices for consumers. Let's discuss this new data with Mark Zandi, the chief economist at Moody's. Mark, thanks so much for sharing part of your afternoon with us. These tariffs looming over the weekend, the White House would not give details on whether there would be exceptions for things like oil products. I wonder how you think the markets and consumers are going to be affected by this.
Well, Boris, it depends, right? It depends on how high the tariffs are, which products, if there are going to be exemptions or carve-outs, how long the tariffs will be in place. So there's a lot of imponderables, which highlights one of the problems with tariffs, and that is it creates a lot of uncertainty for businesses and consumers, and is a problem for economic growth. But it's hard to answer that question because we just literally don't know. I mean, we could play an experiment. Let's say that the president follows through and imposes 25% tariffs on all goods, imported goods from Canada and Mexico, and 10% on all goods from China. No exemptions, no carve outs, and keeps them in place for a year. Then that would add 6 to 0.7% to consumer price inflation. So just to make that concrete, instead of, say, inflation being 2%,
which is supposed to be 2% is the healthy level,
over the next year would be 2.6 or 2.7%. But that's extreme. That's kind of an outside kind of scenario. I doubt the president has that in mind, but that gives you kind of context.
It depends on the retaliatory tariffs as well that Canada puts in place. Really quickly, I got you in a second, Micah. Caroline Leavitt said, well, when asked about the tariff war between Canada and the United States after the Prime Minister of Canada said he would consider cutting off electricity to America if Donald Trump continues to impose tariffs, she referenced Jesus Christ. They want you to panic, but President Trump wants you to remember, Jesus didn't have electricity either, and he did just fine. Micah said, Major, you will be poor, and you like it vibes. I want to bring Micah on stream really quickly. Let's have a little Gen Z chat. Yo, what is up, brother?
Nice microphone. We're matching today.
Oh, hell yeah. You got the Rode mic?
So increasingly, they're changing their narrative. They used to say that we don't pay the tariffs, but as soon as they implement the tariffs, everyone's going to know, actually, we do pay the tariffs. And so their new claim is, well, actually, you're going to be poorer, but that's okay, actually. That's a good thing, and it's going to be temporary. It's going to go away. Don't worry about it. It's interesting to see their switch in real time.
Do you have a background in econ or anything like that?
I'm about to graduate this semester with the econ degree, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I want to clarify for the audience. My question to you is there a reality where Trump imposes the tariffs and within a week rescinds them and claims a victory in the same way that he did with Colombia last weekend? Or do you think he's a true believer in tariffs? I can't read it.
So first, I think he actually is a true believer because he read a William McKinley book, and he's convinced that some of the worst tariff experience we've had in this country were actually responsible for our success. It is interesting, one of our biggest tariff times that he points to was the tariffs we imposed during the Great Depression, which are credited with making the Great Depression much, much, much worse. So I think he's a true believer, but he's also bad faith. Some people think that he actually thinks this is good for America. I think that he also knows that a lot of the people that support him will benefit from these tariffs. Tariffs exist not just to raise taxes on Americans, but to protect certain domestic industries from competition. That's not American workers. Those are American corporations, which don't want to have to face foreign companies which are competing on price and quality. They want to be able to charge higher prices and yield higher profits. And so I think he is a true believer, but the economic pain of these tariffs will be so extreme that his hand might be forced by people within his own party to change course if he actually imposes these and tries to stick with them.
Yeah, because I was reading an article. One of the people that will be affected the worst will be Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, and other
avocados.
people. Yeah, and other people in red states will be absolutely cooked by this. So, I just taking the model of what happened last weekend, almost exactly a week ago with Colombia, where Trump, he threatens, number one, visa sanctions, economic sanctions, tariffs, and then he waits for the smallest concession possible. It wasn't even a concession because Petro was the one who, number one, didn't cave, and he was like, we're not taking people in military planes. So Trump then waits till the immigrants go over there, and then he removes it, and he claims it's a victory. And when you have Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, all of these people essentially saying, oh, Trump took a massive victory with tariffs, then people will think he's taking these wins. He's optics over actual substance. So my worry is that Trudeau's going to make some tiny concession, and he's going to be like, we just took a massive victory. By the way, I'm going to link Micah's channel in the description. Brilliant Gen Zer. Let me.
Well, that's why the media ecosystem is so important, because all they do is lie, right? They said that we won some big thing with Colombia. We didn't even need to use military planes for deportations. Biden was doing deportations. It's unnecessary. It's more expensive. And it's a complete waste of time. And obviously, no country wants foreign military planes flying into their airports. That's just a threat to their national security. So it's ridiculous. And they didn't even concede anything in the deal. Regarding these tariffs, I think what I've heard is that he's trying to prove something, that he's serious. And it's funny because all Republicans actually know what tariffs are. These people are educated. These people went to Harvard and Yale, no matter how much they rag on those universities. Very few of them, though, are willing to actually say in public that tariffs are a tax on American citizens meant to protect big corporations. Even his own economic advisors know this. JD Vance knows this. And so behind the scenes, everyone is really, really worried. And that's why I think that there's going to be pressure on him as soon as they're imposed to roll it back. I mean, they already said they've announced that the tariffs are in place without them actually being in place yet. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for them to say something, make themselves look like they actually did it without actually doing it. Although, unfortunately, I think that he actually will impose them for a period of time.
Yeah, he will, and I think it will be. He's trying to go for an optical win, but he is a true believer in tariffs. If there's one thing he's been consistent on over the past 40 years, it's tariffs. Have you seen the clips of him from the 80s, maybe? And he's on, what is it, Larry King? Or something like that. And he's talking about tariffs. And it's the one thing that he's remained incredibly consistent on. Also, have you heard about, just to pivot really quickly and then we can come back to tariffs? Well, a few things. First of all, I want to talk to you in 1 second about Canada doing retaliatory tariffs that surgically target Elon Musk. I think that would be hilarious. You read about that, right?
Oh, I think that is 100% hilarious, because we've already seen that this administration is just trying to further Elon Musk's business interest. Don't forget that Elon Musk, half of his wealth came from since Trump got elected. $250 billion appreciation as well. What did he do? Did he invent something new? Did SpaceX have a really good year? Did Tesla do fantastically well? No, he bought the White House, and that actually turns out to be quite very, very valuable. JD Vance himself told Europe that if they continue to try to regulate Elon's companies, we would leave NATO. First of all, that's illegal, actually, because that's a treaty that was approved by Congress, so they can't do that. But they've shown that they're willing to use the government to further Elon's business interest. So the best way to get them to change course is to show them that their current course is actually hurting Elon's business interest. So I think that was a brilliant move by Canada.
Yeah, that is great. And have you also heard, let me quickly pull up this article from the New York Times that just came out. We just got a new article about Elon Musk's hostile takeover. Well, first of all, you read the one yesterday about how Elon Musk locked people out of their systems, but there's a new update. First of all, what do you think about Elon Musk's hostile takeover? They're putting mattresses in these places. Like, he's doing exactly what he did with Twitter. by reducing the workforce, by sending out these buyout emails, but now he's doing it with our actual federal government. And the question is, what are the unintended consequences of this? Because what happened with Twitter is it now is sort of like a Nazi safe haven. You go on Twitter and it's literally fucking Nazi Germany over there, right? So is the government gonna, if they're trying to turn
on Twitter, they will literally threaten your life and you report them for a violent threat, which is supposed to be a suspendable offense. And then they'll send you a message, nothing here was bannable. And part of it's that they're understaffed. Part of them is that they're run by insane people in the case of X. This is the thing about Elon. He talks all about efficiency. I love efficiency. I think it's important, but that's not what his agenda is about at all. He has a radical ideological agenda. That's why they want to tell us that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is the reason why our economy is inefficient. No, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is the reason why some of these big companies can't just get away with exploiting people for forever. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau should be larger. There's a reason why one of the most wasteful departments they keep coming after is the Department of Education, as if there's anything duplicative or wasteful about a department for one of the most important things that the government does. So he is putting people on mattresses. He is firing workers, including defunding our aviation safety sector, which has some pretty harmful consequences. But he also is trying to access Social Security illicitly, which there was breaking news about recently. I don't know what his intentions are with that, but I'm sure they're not good.
This is the breaking news I was looking for right here. I found the article and it reads, I'm gonna really quickly pull this up on screen. Elon Musk's team has now gotten access to the Treasury Department's payment system. Is that what you were referring to as well?
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about.
Let me read a few sections of this article and we can break it down. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave representatives of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency. How is the word Doge part of our common parlance now? How are we just talking about Doge? I had Elizabeth Warren on my show and she's just talking about Doge casually, like, get out. It's not against her. I'm just saying this was a meme coin a few years ago. So, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave representatives of the so-called Doge Department, whatever, full access to the federal payment system late on Friday, according to three people familiar with the change, handing Elon Musk and the team he is leading a powerful tool to monitor and potentially limit government spending. The new authority follows a standoff this week with a top Treasury official who had resisted allowing Musk's lieutenants into the department's payment system, which sends out money on behalf of the entire federal government. The official, a career civil servant named David Lebrick, is that how you say it? Lebrick? Was put on leave and then suddenly retired on Friday after the dispute, the same way that Elon pushed out the head of the FAA. It was the FAA, right? He completely pushed out the head of that. This dude is drunk on power. He's going to overstep very quickly. And before I read this article, before I finish this, the unintended consequences of what they're doing, or you could call them the intended consequences, but I think a lot of times they're doing this for self-serving reasons, and there ends up being unintended consequences. For example, when Trump paused the federal grant funding, the Medicaid portals crashed right away. Or, speaking of crashes, no, not speaking of crashes, you can also talk about the FAA. You can talk about the TSA. All of this
plane
stuff.
crashes every single day. Yesterday, a plane crashed. The day before that. The day before that. We only talk about the last two, but there was also a military jet F-35, I believe, that crashed. This is not normal. Now, it's true that we have plane accidents, but them just falling out of the sky and crashing into the ground is not normal. And it is ridiculous to me that we're not allowed to criticize their behavior for this, freezing FAA hiring, actually taking in place policies to get more air traffic and control workers to quit, to make sure that more of these people are actually doing multiple jobs at the same time, putting in place the least qualified defense secretary we've probably ever seen in our history. And we're not allowed to ask whether that had anything to do with the crashes that we're seeing. Meanwhile, Trump gets to say flagrantly, the president of the United States, that this is because of DEI. The double standard and rhetoric, the reasonability and charitability we have to offer them, but they never return to us, I think is genuinely ridiculous.
Dude, that's what pissed me off because a few things. First of all, I'm dropping Micah's YouTube in the chat. Go check him out. Brilliant commentator. But also, okay, so on that night, I was having debates with myself. Do I go live the night of the DC plane crash? Do I talk about this? But I was like, I don't want to make anything political. Right now it's a tragedy. We don't want to do that. So I was holding myself to a very high standard. And when I did make a tweet, about just, it was like a simple screenshot of a headline saying Trump fires FAA people, Trump does this. People in the comments were shitting on me, especially conservatives. They were like, you are soulless. You're such a soulless, vile creature because you're turning this political. Then the next morning, the president of the United States. And honestly, I naively thought better. I thought better of him. I thought that he was going to come on stage and I thought he was going to do a pre-written little script. And he did that at first. He was like, my heart goes out to all the families. He was really low energy. I naively thought he would cut it off there. I thought that he would walk off stage and maybe have a little bit of impulse control. This mother effer then proceeds to talk about DEI. He blames on Obama, then Biden, then Pete Buttigieg, all while still saying he doesn't quite know what happened. Not going to lie, I didn't even think he would go that low. What was your
Let's
reaction?
be clear. The pilots of the helicopter and the plane were white, and the air traffic control people were white. So white people cannot actually be subject to DEI according to them. So they never benefit from DEI. Also, women are the biggest beneficiary from DEI, which they never want to acknowledge either. But I mean, these are the people that after Trump got shot at by a Republican said the Democrats were responsible, and they knew they were lying. They knew it was dangerous, but they didn't care. I mean, these are the people that lied about the North Carolina crisis and the California wildfires as they were happening in ways that they knew would cause more harm and possibly lives because they don't care. And I think our obligation is always to be honest. You know, you never want to lie to people. Your platform, you use it as ethically as somebody can because you respect your viewers. But that doesn't mean that we should afford this charitability and be constantly bending over backwards to be as respectful to people that hate us, that are doing everything they possibly can to undercut us. And I think that this kind of obsession with norms and like these fake social institutions that some people, Democrats, have had in the past is just unwarranted. Get with the times. This is how politics works now, and it will only change if they're overwhelmingly defeated and their brand of politics is rendered to the dustbin of history.
Yeah, we can't keep going high while they repeatedly smack us in the face. Have you ever seen that tweet where it's like, the past 8 years of politics have been Democrats saying, but a dog can't play basketball, while a dog repeatedly just dunks on us over and over? It's like at some point, Democrats need to stop going, hey, if we break the norms, maybe Trump will break the norms. Oh, we're way past that. We're way past that. Trump is already nuking every single norm. And of course, like you said, we shouldn't be QAnon conspiracy theorists. We shouldn't be vile about it. We shouldn't even lie. But it's okay for our leaders to go out and scream from the rooftops, hey, a week ago on his first day or a week and a half ago, Trump directly did this and it led directly to this. I mean, our leaders need to be screaming that from the rooftops. Also, the simple question, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe in Trump's America?
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because everything he has done has made you less safe. I mean, can we talk about mass deportations for a second?
Yeah.
First of all, less violent criminals are being mass deported right now than under Biden, but more innocent people are being detained. We had a military veteran who's Hispanic be detained by the police. He showed them his military ID and they said, we don't believe you. Incarcerated without a warrant. What is this? This is Trump's America. And this is what we all warned everybody about. And now people are going to see it. Latinos, Hispanics, their communities that have been people that have been here for generations around this country, my city like Houston, getting invaded by ICE, detained, having the rights abused, and police forces that are usually going after rapists and murderers, taken off the streets, taken away from crime towards harassing our neighbors. That is the ridiculous policy that this administration is pursuing. And they want to say it's going to make America safe again?
Mm-hmm. The thing that annoys me is that I feel like Democrats have kind of dropped the ball on certain messaging. Of course, that's an understatement, but we've lost the ability to claim stuff that we should be claiming. You said this earlier, but like liberals want an efficient government. There is no reality in which Elon Musk should be able to be the one that's saying, we stand for efficiency. Liberals want an efficient government. No liberal is going to defend an immigrant who committed a crime, like a criminal who, say, the killer of Lake and Riley. Conservatives genuinely think that the average liberal wants to defend that person, that criminal. No, we are the first ones to say, if somebody does something like that, get them out. We're the first ones to say we can make the government more efficient. And when we say efficient, we actually mean it. It's not under the guise of we're not saying efficient to hide the fact that we want to enrich our billionaire donors like Elon Musk or whoever the hell. We actually want to make America more efficient. We actually want to make everything better. But for some reason, they've been able to claim the America First phrase alienating our allies on the global stage and allowing Russia and China and Iran to fill this power vacuum, number one, is not putting America first. Hurting American citizens by increasing costs is not putting America first. Nothing about it is actually America first. Right now, it's billionaire first. And again, we need to keep hammering home Trump's taxes, the Trump tariff. We can word it in a few ways. The Trump tariffs are a tax on you that are making your life harder. That's a simple way to put it. Or do you feel safer and better under Trump's America? There's a few ways you can simply word it, but.
Well, so I think this is a really important point you hit on, which is that everything that Republicans say they're for, we actually secure in terms of their ends, not their means. We're not for mass deportations. And I talk to Republicans all the time, because a lot of my family is conservative. I do a lot of messaging and outreach to Republicans. And what I see a lot of times is they say, well, Micah, don't you realize that that's what the Republican Party stands for, right? I tell them I believe in public safety and common sense. I want our streets to be safe. And they don't realize that this is actually the policies that we further. It's the NRA which prevents us from being able to crack down on illegal guns, on maniacs like the Uvalde shooting person who should have never gotten their hand on a gun in the first place. We fight to make sure those people don't have firearms, and they fight to make sure that they do, right? Whenever you talk about affordability, or when you talk about efficiency, this is a great one. We believe in efficiency, and we know that our inefficiencies are not accidents. It's not that we've just forgot that we were sending all this money to some certain group. They exist because of powerful interests like Elon Musk, the number one receiver of corporate welfare in American history, the biggest welfare queen in the history of the universe. We don't believe in corporate welfare. We want to say that if we're going to spend public dollars that we're taking from taxpayers, it should go to families struggling to feed themselves. Homeless people that don't have a house, get them off the street, and not to the troughs of certain special interest groups which have armies of lobbyists. This is the kind of stuff that we stand for, and a lot of our messaging needs to just articulate that. The party that can articulate that they're for low prices and safety and common sense freedom, that's the party that wins each and every time, and their misinformation machine has allowed them to get away with doing the opposite while being branded as actually delivering these things.
And dude, how are Democrats not screaming from the rooftops right now? What you said earlier, Elon Musk's his biggest wealth increase. He doubled the amount of wealth he has after the election, after Trump's win. Could you possibly imagine? What, did Nancy Pelosi made $500,000 off of a trade, and they thought this was the worst corruption? Or, okay, a better example. Michelle Obama one time gave a speech, and she was paid $70,000 for that speech, and they thought Michelle Obama was the biggest grifter ever. Michelle Obama is using her public image to make $70K, and she's going to write a book, and this is all so corrupt. Meanwhile, Trump, even if we want to put aside Trump coin and Melania coin, Trump allowed Elon Musk to double his effing wealth. Democrats should be screaming this from the rooftops. And I don't know where the Democratic leaders are, the messengers are. And we have a few good ones. We were just talking earlier about Pritzker's great, AOC, Jamie Raskin, awesome, Swalwell, great, Chris Murphy. We have a lot of good messengers, but they need to be more unified on this. Republicans are lockstep talking about George Soros. The George Soros threat wasn't even a real threat. It didn't even exist. Yet when we actually have Elon Musk doing this, it feels like they kind of put their foot off the gas, right? They took their foot off the pedal.
Well, we should be the anti-corruption party. And it's so easy because we're running against the most corrupt administration in the history of the country, probably. We've had some corrupt people in the past, but my God, it's getting flagrant. I mean, they removed a restriction that prevented senior staffers from becoming lobbyists, right? They're literally selling out the federal government to special interest groups, and they're doing it in broad daylight in front of everyone. And people talk about Pelosi's insider trading, using her knowledge to trade well. Well, here's the reality. Who are been the people that have fought to get rid of that policy for everyone? Because the truth is, Republicans do a lot of insider trading. It's Democrats, right? Who are the people that fought to get rid of gerrymandering, to get rid of the huge amounts of dark money which flood into these different elections to skew it for one side? Who are the people who want to restrict lobbying more? Who are the people who want a judicial code of ethics so that one of our Supreme Court justices can't get millions of dollars from folks that they are seeing the cases from? It's Democrats in every single instance. The problem is a messaging one. And it's something that we all have to contribute to collectively changing.
Yeah, I agree. Really quickly, the White House just released a fact sheet. They just made a statement, essentially, on the tariffs. This is from minutes ago. Let me pull this on screen and read a little bit of it, then we can chat about it. Addressing an emergency situation, says the Donald Trump White House, the extraordinary threat posed by illegal aliens and drugs, including deadly fentanyl, constitutes a national emergency under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Until the crisis is alleviated, Donald Trump is implementing a 25% additional tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico and a 10% additional tariff on imports from China. I like how the tariff on China is less.
It's smaller, right?
Yeah, than our allies, our next door neighbors. Energy Resources from Canada will have a lower 10% tariff because he understands the implications of that. President Trump is taking bold action to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable. By the way, these are the White House's words. We'll debunk this in a second. He's taking bold action to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable. Really quickly, we don't have to hold Canada accountable. You can just talk to them like human beings. The same thing with Greenland. Greenland is an ally. There's such an ally. Denmark is an ally. Where we could use Greenland for whatever purposes we want. We could increase our military presence on there without threatening military coercion. But let me continue reading this. It's like taking a sledgehammer to our friendships across the globe when you could just, if you're the real master negotiator, just make a phone call. Okay. The orders make it clear that the flow of contraband drugs like fentanyl to the United States through illicit distribution networks has created a national emergency, including a public health crisis. Chinese officials have failed to take the actions necessary to stem the flow of precursor chemicals to known criminal cartels. He then says, using our leverage to ensure America's safety, access to the American market is a privilege. While trade accounts for 67% of Canada's GDP, 73% of Mexico's GDP, 37% of China's GDP, and only accounts for 1/4 of the U.S.'s GDP, it would still absolutely destroy us. He then says, President Trump is keeping his promise to stop the flood of illegal aliens. I mean, the thing is, if you want to impose tariffs on another country, and Elon Musk said this himself. Elon Musk said this on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I saw a clip of it. What he said is, you have to allow a grace period for companies to build more manufacturing plants. You have to allow a grace period if you want to incentivize the reshoring of American manufacturing to actually allow the companies to build. And also, a lot of plants, whether we like it or not, are being kept up by immigrants, oftentimes illegal immigrants, not all of the time. So how are you going to, a few contradictory things. How are you going to, number one, do mass deportations? Number two, reshore manufacturing without allowing a grace period? But number three, also eliminate the Department of Education. This is one thing that really pisses me off, is that Elon Musk wants H-1B visas to be able to come over here. And that's fine. We want high-skilled workers from other countries. That part's fine. But that is directly opposed to the idea that we should eliminate the Department of Education. So all of these things just seem so contradictory. And yeah, what's up?
So I have a lot to say on this. First, in regards to fentanyl, it's a huge problem. Over 80,000 Americans dying in a year. Now, it is going down. It started going down under Biden, but there's more that we can do. And the
You're from
truth
Texas,
is,
right?
What's that?
You're from Texas, right?
I'm from Texas, yes.
All
It's a
right.
huge problem. A lot of Native Americans have been killed by fentanyl. It's more than car accidents. It's more than guns. So what else do you need to say? But the truth is the Chinese are the number one most responsible people because that's where all the precursors come from. And they take it to Mexico. And of course, the cartels use it. So we should hold the cartels accountable. And Democrats support that. We should also hold the Chinese accountable. And Trump wants to pick a fight with really everyone but China. That's why they get the lowest amount of tariffs. That's why we go after Panama and Greenland and Denmark. France is saying they're going to actually send potentially troops to Greenland. That's how much we've effed up this relationship.
Oh my God.
Canada has nothing to do with the fentanyl crisis. So this is not a plan. This is posturing and idiocy.
Yep.
Everyone in the administration knows it. Now, regarding the whole economic platform, Trump promised to make America affordable again, and we should. That's like one of the things that should be an absolute priority, and there's so many ways we can do that, but none of his ideas do that. This guy did a moratorium on public land development of renewable energy types, solar panels, windmills. How does reducing the supply of energy bring down energy costs? It doesn't, right? He just wants more oil and gas because the oil and gas industry supports him. How does mass deporting workers in our agricultural sector, in construction, bring down the cost of food and bring down the cost of housing? It doesn't. And they know that. How does imposing tariffs on 25% of our economy help bring down any cost. It doesn't do that. And let's address one final myth, which has been allowed to go around for far too long. There's this idea that the decline in manufacturing jobs happened because we got rid of tariffs over time. We also got rid of import restrictions. Let's be clear about this. The decline in manufacturing jobs started in 1950, before we had any of these deals, before China joined the WTO. It happened because of automation. We got more technology and we got more efficient at producing things. And guess what? That happened everywhere in the world. And whenever we implemented the free trade deals, by free trade, it means less tariffs, less restrictions. Well, it didn't have that much of an impact. The truth is, when you impose tariffs, you kill American jobs. That's not theory. We know that because in Trump 1, he killed 300, 400, 500,000 manufacturing jobs, because whenever you raise the cost of inputs for American manufacturers, guess what? They're less competitive on the global stage, and they actually ship more of their production to other countries like China, in Europe, in India. So these policies don't make sense across any domain unless they're bad faith and he's deranged, and I think both are correct.
Yep. Thank you so much, Micah Irfan. I'm going to link your channel multiple times in chat. You guys, if you look in chat, you'll see my yellow name tag popping up. Just click on that channel. Click subscribe. Great commentary. Thank you for hopping on such short notice. And yo, have a great day. In about 45 minutes, Trudeau is going to announce retaliatory tariffs, or he's going to make some sort of speech. So we will see. We will see what happens. Let's continue, though. Let's continue. Let me read some of these super chats. How is everybody in chat feeling? Drop some blue hearts. I missed some donations, and I like to read every single donation. So let's back up a little bit. Bastington, thank you so much. Alex Espinoza, Sheila Jackson, thank you. You guys are the absolute best. Ravelin, thank you for the gift membership. Oh, you guys are the best. Abelis, thank you so much. London Water, giant anti-Trump text chain would be so convenient. I mean, I have a few communities that are kind of like that. You can join my Discord. You can join my subreddit. We'll talk about that later. Just Jamie, I'd love to see Jasmine Crockett on the show. I've had Jasmine Crockett on. She's great. Railvin, thank you so much. This is a soft coup on the government. Yep, what Elon Musk is doing is a hostile takeover. The world has gone topsy-turvy. Thank you so much, QWERTY. JC, hey Adam, why are Musk's civilian employees takeover of the government buildings not being reported as a coup? What am I missing? Because the messaging on the left is kind of weak. Like, speaking of that, look at this tweet that I just found. Imagine this headline for 1 second, if you will. Just imagine this headline. I'd like everybody in chat to think about this for 1 second. 1 second. Sorry. Imagine if we saw the headline, George Soros' team has gained access to Treasury Department payment systems. That would have broken the internet. Right-wingers' heads would have, in the most literal sense possible, exploded. Their heads would have actually exploded. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's team is able to gain access to the Treasury Department's payments. Like, look at this. There are two separate headlines here, and one of them doesn't cause as much outroar somehow. We'll talk more about tariffs in 1 second, but we should talk about Elon Musk. Let's continue going. Thank you so much, JC. Jennifer, thanks for the memberships. London Water, we need cohesion, not just Dems, but independence. Project 2025 is Opus Dei's agenda. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Jeanette. Trump, the quicker fixer-upper. David McKee says, we can't afford billionaires. They murdered mothers and their children. Thank you so much. Yeah, the figure skating champions. David McKee, thank you, Lee. Thank you, Marion. Lee Breitenbach. Great name. Trump and company wants to turn the USA into an HOA. I'm currently reading donations. Sometimes chat moves fast, so it's easier to get my attention with like a $2. Yeah. CNN just said the tariffs just became active. Really? I don't know if that's true. I was under the impression they were starting Tuesday. Let's check this out. Yo, and by the way, guys, stick around, or if you need to leave, come back in 40 minutes. Well, we're still going to live stream, but if you need to take a break, make sure you come back at 6 p.m. ET or 5 p.m. Central, which is less than 45 minutes. Trudeau is going to announce the response. That is what I'm excited to see. Yeah, it was supposed to start today, but it actually, they moved it back to Tuesday. Oh, wait, did Trump just sign it? 1 minute ago. Wait, this is from 1 minute ago. President Donald Trump announced new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, signing them at his Mar-a-Lago club on Saturday. Okay, wait, he signed them, but they may still come into they may still apply on Tuesday. Let's see. It's a reversal of a virtually duty-free trade between the three nations that has existed for several years. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt previewed the tariffs during a Friday briefing for reporters, saying that they would amount to a 25% duty on Mexico and Canada and a 10% tariff on China, quote, for illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country. As Micah was saying, what does Canada have to do with this? Saturday's tariffs amount to a starting gun on what would escalate into a global trade war, or what could escalate into a global trade war with the potential for higher costs, disrupted supply chains, and a loss of jobs. Even Trump acknowledged the potential for adverse consequences. He said, quote, there could be some temporarily short-term disruption, and people will understand that. Trump said Friday when pressed by reporters the cost of tariffs. But the tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong. Who's we? By we, do you mean Elon Musk and the people around you? Because who's we? Let me go back to this the super chats because I missed a few. You guys are the best. CEOs make such a big deal out of DEI. Now we must make them afraid of ETR. Eat the rich. Good point, MH777. James Morgan. When my wife worked for the EAA, she got the chance to speak with Justine Musk. Great article in Jezebel about what a POS Elon is. Look up Justine Musk Jezebel starter wife. We can do some research on that. Have you looked at how the Tesla symbol is a hammer of Odin? That could be. Thank you, Jerry, so much. Thank you, Boomer Bitch. Great name. Instead of calling them Nazis, we should call them graybacks. Yeah, I mean, messaging is really important. When does that executive order of no tax on overtime and no tax on tips come through? That comes through after he ends the Ukraine war, after he lowers prices across. It's never coming. It's never coming. CNN said tariffs just became active. Yeah, it seems like he did sign it. White House expected to announce new tariffs soon, and they did. So now what we're waiting for is Trudeau's response in about a half an hour, a little over a half an hour. Yeah, you're right, Wendy. Wendy's largely right. So Wendy said, China's tariffs aren't less. Note the language, an additional 10%. So Trump previously put a 25% tariff on China. That is very true. What he's doing right now is he's adding 10% to the China tariffs, but still, didn't he promise like a 100% tariff? Oh wait, new update. Trump said 10% tariff on Canadian energy aims to minimize any disruptive effects. Yeah, Trudeau is making an announcement soon. Dave Wilson. Man, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's find this live stream where they're... Give me 1 second.
About it. I think we would have lost. We wouldn't have one steel mill in this country if I didn't do that. We saved the steel industry.
Is this now?
So it was an honor to do it, and I think the people that love me most in the whole world are people that make steel. But we're going to be putting some.
This was yesterday, I believe. I could be wrong.
Next month, we're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminum.
Dude, he is looking old. He's looking really low energy, right? He's looking really low energy. Pink Stormtrooper, thank you. Thank you, guys. Republicans want the mass deportation, says Josh H. They will fill the jobs with child labor, potentially. Yo, Jonathan, thank you so much. Don Hugo, you guys are the best. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. He is very old. He's very old, but he's very visibly old at this moment. I wonder what he's going to look like by the end of the term. It could be a Reagan situation. All right, just to go back, we're going to talk more about tariffs in a bit. Trust me. Trudeau is about to speak in about 30 minutes and announce his retaliatory tariffs. But really quickly, imagine this headline. So we just got the headline that Elon Musk's team has gained access to Treasury Department payment systems. What? It's incredibly dystopian. Imagine the headline Quote, George Soros' team has gained access to Treasury Department payment systems. That would have broken the internet. Oh, wow, you're right. Trump just imposed the tariffs. He just did it. Now, the reporting earlier said that he was going to impose the tariffs on Tuesday. That is what it said. So that's what I was reporting because that's all that we knew. But it seems like that has since changed. Give me 1 second. It seems like that has since changed. And he's doing it today. But let's continue reading some of these. The one article that I found incredibly interesting that we never finished, we need to finish this article. Elon Musk's team has now gotten access to the Treasury Department's payment systems. What in the hell? Jennifer Payne, thank you so much for joining Mockler's Mafia. Something I want to start doing is doing live streams that are for the members only live streams. YouTube has a membership system. And I think that doing a live stream where we can build a really tight community when stuff happens, I think that'll be great. We are also screwed. Maybe. I think that with a tight community, we can come together. I don't know. Someone left a note in the chat yesterday. It said, don't stress, but protest. I think that's pretty fire. Don't stress, but protest. Lorraine Morgan, Big Dog NC, what is up, members? To everyone saying that they think their Social Security will get nuked right away, don't be so pessimistic yet. I know that there's not much reason for optimism, but it's Heather Stockwell, you guys are the best. Lori King, Daphne Farmer, you guys are the absolute best. He signed it today, but it seems like it also takes effect today. Richard Gallo, welcome to all the new members. Once we start our in-person show, we'll be doing multiple membership shows. Elon Musk's team has access to the Treasury Department's payment systems. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave representatives of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency full access to the federal payment system. JC, what is up, Omi? Whoa, okay, a lot of updates. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back 1 second. A White House official just said the tariffs are tentatively scheduled to go into place on Tuesday. This is not us being confused. This is the White House using very confusing messages. Oh, CBC News out of Canada? Yeah, they have a few really good articles. Okay, the White House just announced they go into effect on Tuesday. The lower tariff rate of 10% on Canadian energy products appears to be a tacit acknowledgement that tariffs can translate to higher gas prices. Trump administration officials have argued that tariffs will not fuel inflation, but their actions are different than their words. Oh, Lord have mercy. The tariffs are being imposed under the authority of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Officials cited concerns about fentanyl entering the United States, which it is, but not to the Canadian border. I keep trying to stabilize my camera. Not through the Canadian border. That's just not what's happening. Yo, MH777 and Debbie Fritz, welcome to the memberships. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. Jerry Wall. Alabama profits off of prisoners who work at McDonald's. We need a boycott. I don't eat McDonald's, honestly. Even though it's sometimes good. I eat Chipotle a lot. Chipotle is really good. There's one close by. White House officials said that President Trump has signed an executive order initiating tariffs. Veronica, what is up? White nationalist groups are trading guns for fentanyl. Funny how he's not going after them. Someone I would love to have on the show is JB Pritzker. I feel like that's something that can happen. Ooh, okay, wait, listen to this 1 second. Really quickly, Canada just approved $1.2 billion for added border security on January 15th to avoid Trump's tariffs. Now he is still screwing them. Elon is going to raid the Treasury with a checkbook in hand, and no one will stop them. Scott Denny, that is an amazing breakdown of the situation. Really quickly, I'm going to throw the chat on the screen. That is an amazing breakdown of the situation. As Scott Denny says, Canada has already approved more money for border security. They've already allocated that, yet Trump said there's no stopping the tariffs, which tells you that he doesn't actually want to he doesn't actually have any requests. Scott Denny, great point. But then he also says Elon is going to raid the Treasury with a checkbook in hand and no one will stop him. So you guys were here earlier. Many of you guys were here earlier when I was talking about flooding the zone with so much BS that it's hard to keep up. A great example is Trump's day one executive orders. He signed 45 of them. And there were so many. How am I supposed to make 45 videos or even one video about 45 executive orders? It's a lot. But today, we either have to talk about the tariffs, which we will, or we talk about Elon Musk, which we will. We're going to try to stay on top of it, but it's damn. Look at this. Rivals for Canada's top job agree on one thing, hitting back against Trump's tariffs. Thank God to all my Canadian friends here. Thank God. To all my, yeah. B Brand, thank you so much. B Brand said, Adam, I love your tireless efforts to keep the truth flowing. Thank you. You deserve 3 million subscribers. Those are some great words. I have a feeling that we're going to hit 1 million subscribers this year. I have a feeling it's going to happen. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, by the way. It is totally not out of the bounds of possibility we hit 1 million. But beyond me, let's talk about the more important stuff. Rivals for Canada's top job agree on one thing. The imposition of tariffs on Canadian goods imported into the United States will lead to economic calamity. But already, the tariffs are affecting the country's political landscape at a fragile, fraught moment. And to be honest, right now, the Canadian economy is not in a great spot. And I'm sure the Canadian people in chat can back that up. But they're not in the strongest spot right now. Yo, Tony, what is up? Thank you so much. Darnell said they have been saying Social Security would disappear since the 80s. It's 40 years later. I don't think Social Security will be slashed, even though they've talked about it and they've done it. I think that they're going to do it in a more subtle way. They know how badly that would. Yep, someone said backing you up from Canada, and I agree. Yeah. Yeah, being a subscriber is free, guys. The subscriber thing is free. Absolutely. Okay, there's a few things in chat that I need to talk about. There's a distinction here. There's a distinction. People keep saying it went into effect today. No. Trump signed it today, and it goes into effect on Tuesday. That is what all reporting is saying from the White House. It goes into effect on Tuesday. Mark Johnson, yo, what is up? And by the way, in 28 minutes exactly, in 28 minutes, Trudeau should be speaking. But let's continue reading this. The imposition of tariffs on the United States, or on Canadian goods imported into the United States, would lead to economic calamity. But already, the tariffs are affecting the country's political landscape. Weeks earlier, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced he would resign as the leader of the Liberal Party and the country. The Liberals will choose a new leader and Prime Minister on March 9th, and the country will hold a federal election this year, most likely in the spring. Really quickly to my Canadian friends in the chat, what do you guys think of Trudeau? I want to know. What do you guys think of Trudeau? From what I've heard, he's quite divisive in Canada. I mean, not from what I've heard. We know he's very divisive. Well, not because of anything he's done, but not a fan. Well, he's on the way out. He's hot. Hate Trudeau. He's unpopular. I've heard he's unpopular. Trudeau has destroyed Canada. Someone said better than your schmuck. Well, yeah, the bar is pretty low there. Trudeau, okay, we've got the duality of man right here because someone said Trudeau isn't great, and then the next person says he's a great leader. Someone said we hate him. He's no worse than the others. He stayed too long. He's kind. No one likes Trudeau anymore. I have heard that Trudeau is quite unpopular. I've heard that same thing. I don't closely follow his every move, so. Unpopular to the chuds. Have you guys ever seen that clip of him opening the flag? All right, let's continue. This one's really funny. This is a really funny clip.
Oh, no.
You guys know those fuck Trudeau flags that everyone flies? Watch this.
Oh, what's it going to be?
Oh, come on.
Oh, no. Wait. Good luck.
That. More of these flags everywhere, please.
Good luck in 2025 because you're going to need it.
Let me play this one more time. At the beginning, when they start unrolling the flag, Trudeau goes, come on. Come on. He thought he was going to say F Trudeau.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
He's like, oh, come on. That's a really good troll.
oh no. Wait. Good luck.
That. More of these flags everywhere, please.
Good luck in 2025 because you're going to need it.
He does need it. Jesus Christ, he does need it. But someone said, I'm a big fan of Trudeau, but then someone said, I'm not a fan of Trudeau. Yeah, he seems, like I said, he seems quite divisive. Someone said he's gay. What does that have? What? What about what is the dude's name? Pierre Poilievre? Poilievre? Well, how do you say that? Also, who's gonna win? Who's the front runner for this? Who is the front runner for the Canadian race? Do you guys know? Any Canadian people in here? Let's check the betting markets. Oh, it's gonna be Pierre. Pierre is just Trump light. Yeah, he's a mini Trump. He uses the same Trump rhetoric. It seems like Pierre will win. You guys call him Pee-Pee? Okay, okay, let's keep going. The two top contenders to lead the Liberal Party will automatically replace Mr. Trudeau as Prime Minister, and automatically replace Mr. Trudeau, are going toe-to-toe with plans for retaliation. The first, Chrystia Freeland, sorry, let's continue. The first, Freeland, the former finance minister and deputy prime minister, the one who resigned recently because of their handling of tariffs, wants Canada hit back dollar for dollar. Ooh, I like this lady. I like Chrystia. Slapping its own high tariffs on American goods imported into Canada. Ms. Freeland laid out a detailed plan including 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles that would target the company owned by Elon Musk. I like that idea. That's something I can get behind. Oh, sorry. I thought it was on screen. Oh, Chrystia is nuts? Is she? I haven't followed it that closely. Well, at least I followed it when she resigned, but I'm not super caught up. I should be. Yeah, what she said, what she argued for is surgically targeting Elon Musk's businesses in order to make him pay a price. We read this earlier, but her whole philosophy is, quote, make them pay a price. Tesla threatened with 100% tariffs in Canada. And the one line that I really appreciate, I love rhetoric like this. We need to be very targeted, very surgical, and very precise, Freeland told the news outlet. Oh, you guys are saying you like Carney? Is he a cool dude? The second Liberal contender, Mark Carney, he had some good clips come out. The former central banker is also calling for aggressive retaliation. Check this out.
Yes, you've just shifted the justification, as the president sometimes does. The United States runs a deficit with Canada only because of energy, because of U.S. imports, largely of oil, and as well as electricity. So that's what runs a deficit versus Canada, where that's not being ripped off. In fact, we sell that energy, particularly the oil, at a discount to world prices to Americans. So perhaps we should ask for that subsidy back. Well, yes, you've just shifted the justification, as the president.
Number one, I'm boggled to hear a politician who actually knows about economics. I feel like it's been a while. I mean, Biden knows how economics work, but if we're going to be 100% honest, Biden wasn't the strongest messenger for the past few years of his presidency. And if that's controversial at this point, I don't know what to say. That dude was not able to make the case for his economic success. But listen to this one.
Well, the first thing is we have a lot of cards. We're keeping them close to our chests. We'll start playing a few. Those decisions are for the current government. I've been in close contact with our main negotiators, our foreign affairs minister, our finance minister, who've been in Washington, our public safety minister has also been down. We will take steps. I think it's reasonable to expect in the immediate term that we will match dollar for dollar the U.S. tariffs. We will target our tariffs against those goods and services that will most affect the United States and least affect Canada. But to be clear, this will have an impact on the Canadian economy, and that impact will be felt more quickly and to a greater extent than the U.S. But Canadians are in no mood to make any concessions here. This is entirely unjustified. And we have many other options that we don't want to deploy, but we will if we have to.
Good. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Carney is an actual economist. Oh, he is legitimately an economist and the former governor of the Bank of Canada. That's a solid response. Let's continue, though. The second Liberal contender, Mark Carney, the former central banker, is also calling for aggressive retaliation. In an interview with BBC on Friday, he went as far to say that Canada should demand repayment of the subsidies it gave the United States by selling it 80% of its entire oil production at a discount. Can people just strike back against Trump? Can people just strike back? Kobe, what's up? Oh, brother, this guy stinks. SpongeBob reference? B Brand. Thank you so much. Okay. By the way, guys, in 20 minutes, Justin Trudeau will be speaking. In 20 minutes. The Conservative Party, which has long held a double-digit lead on its Liberals in polling, is looking ahead to this year's federal election, and it seems like they're going to win, probably because of Trudeau. I don't know. Its leader, Pierre Poilievre, am I saying that right? Poilievre? Pierre Poilievre? I don't know. Poilievre, that sounds right. Is pushing for a federal election as soon as Liberals choose their new leader. Betting that he will sweep to victory, Mr. PP, Poilievre, oh, I wasn't even close. Poilievre, okay. I was not even close. Poilievre. You guys are all giving me different pronunciations in chat. I'm just calling him PP or Poilievre. Trump turns 79 on 6/14/25. We have to be relentless in our opposition. We all have to stand against the Orban-style dictatorship. Absolutely. See, that's the thing. A lot of people think that we're going to turn directly into Russia, or that we're turning into Russia. I think that that is a mistake, to think that we're turning into Russia. Yes, there are parallels with the oligarchy. What he's actually trying to model after is Hungary. Viktor Orban's Hungary. Genuinely, the Hungary model is what they're trying to recreate. No, come on. Someone in chat said, you guys are already Russia. I don't like when people say that, because that means you're kind of obeying in advance. You're saying that we should already give up on our institutions. There's already not free and fair elections. Like, have people been getting thrown off of rooftops? And like, if we were Russia, Trump would have won with a 92% margin in the popular vote, the same way that Putin does. But no, it doesn't happen like that, because we are still a democracy. It was a razor-thin margin. When's the last time Russia has had a razor-thin election? If you don't like it, Adam, your country needs to change. No, I agree. I agree. All right, let's continue. I really do like this dude. Too bad it seems like Yeah, if anybody else did this, they would be arrested immediately. Sorry to pivot back to this. But by the way, in 15 minutes, Trudeau should be speaking. Trudeau should be issuing a response soon, which is good. We want a quick and tight response. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what happens. One second, I'm just trying to find something. Boom. Pissing him off. I think the funniest thing that could possibly happen, we don't know if this will, is if Trudeau comes out and he's like, yo, we are doing targeted tariffs against Tesla companies, against this, against that. Like, Trudeau better strike back. To my Canadian friends in chat, is Trudeau strong? Like, is this dude going to strike back, or is he going to be like, I don't know? From what I've seen, it seems like they're pretty serious. There's a unified front to strike back against Trump. We're both going to lose as Americans and Canadians if we get in the trade war. Someone said, no, he's weak. He's strong. How naive are you? In what sense? Is this still about my pronunciation of Poilievre? Trudeau follows the people's will. Trudeau would never say the word yo. It was like a figure of speech. We have new updates though. The tariffs will go into effect at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. Canada said it has a detailed retaliation plan to the US tariffs that will seek to hurt. Oh, let's go. Sorry to all my people in red states. Canada has said it has a detailed retaliation plan to the US tariffs that will seek to hurt Republican states the most. Ooh. Oof, I got too excited. My bad. Why did you open a beer? It's not a beer. See, that's what we need to do. Got him. Well, sorry to my red state friends. We shouldn't be celebrating economic disaster. That's not what we're doing here. We're celebrating the fact that somebody's finally punching back in a way that's precise and surgical. Adam, please calm down. Okay, I'm sorry. I got too excited. Diet Coke is bad for your health. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Everyone has their vices. Sorry, I can drink a little bit of Diet Coke. Business groups that will be hit by the tariffs and retaliation push back swiftly against the move. Quote, we are deeply concerned that the U.S. tariffs on imported spirits from Canada and Mexico will significantly harm all three countries. Yeah, no shit. Lawrence, thank you so much for the donation. I live in the UK, and this may sound bad, but I honestly don't understand how Trump was voted in. Are most Americans just uneducated? Am I missing something? Here is the simplest answer possible that has a lot of truth in it, all right? One of the simplest answers possible is that Trump won for the same reason that Biden won in 2020. And just hear me out. People are inclined to vote against the status quo. They are inclined to vote against the current administration because we live in an era of dissatisfaction. We live in an era where people, no matter what happens, they are dissatisfied with what's going on. So in 2020, Donald Trump lost the election, and it's largely All right. Let's continue. Trudeau should be speaking soon. Let me make sure let me double check this time. Trudeau to speak at 6 p.m. ET, which means 5 p.m. CT. Trudeau announces retaliatory tariffs. Oh, okay. So in
Donald Trump today reportedly has notified Canada that the 25% tariffs against the nation's goods being imported into the United States are going into effect today. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, is expected to speak at 6 p.m. Eastern to announce the country's retaliation to Donald Trump's tariffs, which could easily be retaliatory tariffs. We're not sure just yet how Trudeau is going to respond, but he has stated that he would respond forcefully. So we are now going to see what happens with the situation. But one thing we know for sure is that all of these tariffs are going to make goods much more expensive for Americans, much more expensive for Canadians, much more expensive around the world. And this is going to thrust the economy, the global economy, into a period of instability and chaos. And this is all because of Donald Trump. We're going to be following this story every single minute, every single day. So make sure you're following us right now so that you're always up to date.
Boom. That's Brett Mycelis from Midas Touch. Good friend. Someone said, comb your hair, Mockler. Just because you said that, I'm not combing my hair. I'm going to make it worse. Business groups that will be hit by the tariffs and retaliation pushed back swiftly against the move. Quote, we are deeply concerned that U.S. tariffs on imported spirits from Canada and Mexico will significantly harm all three countries and lead to a cycle of retaliatory tariffs that will negatively impact our shared industry. Gen Zers don't comb their hair. Yeah, true. All right, well, in about 10 minutes, from all reporting, in about 10 minutes, people are saying Trudeau should be either addressing the nation or just coming out with some sort of a statement. Let's see if they're
soon, but we are hearing that it's going to be perhaps bigger than was first anticipated, and that's because this is so much bigger and broader. What kind of response do you want to see, and what have you been telling the Prime Minister about that?
really quickly? This is not CBS News. This is CBC News. This stands for Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Where's Lois? Thank you, Peter.
I think we need to come out really strong as a country, both united, but also in the face of what is a bully and a bully who's, short-sighted. I think it's going to be very interesting, as we've been talking about here, to understand and to see how Americans respond when they feel the impact of the tariffs and American corporations who rely on our supplies. And, we are an integrated trade operation between us and them. And I think Americans have been a bit quiet to date, and when they start to feel the impact of these tariffs, it's going to make a difference. But I think also this is more than about standing up to Trump about trade. It's about what country we want to be and who we want to work with. And I think, as Adrian Clarkson said, this is about our morals as a country and our values, and about allying ourselves with people who believe in democratic rights. And he is obviously proving that he is not that.
Tabitha Bull, thank you for waiting around. It's nice to see you again. Appreciate you.
You too. Miigwech. Thank you.
I'll bring back to David Cochrane now. David, just because I know we did get a statement from the Premier of Alberta, so I wanted to get her perspective in here, because she, of course, was the Premier who wasn't entirely on side with the approach. So she's come out of this first ministers' meeting and is obviously disappointed with what Donald Trump has done. But what else is she saying?
It's quite long. It is 4 pages. When you pay the tweet, you can do that. Disappointed with U.S. President Donald Trump's plan will harm Canadians and Americans alike and strain the important relationship. Alberta will do everything in its power to convince the U.S. president to reverse this. She takes note that he reduced 10% tariff for energy, which is partially a recognition of the advocacy undertaken by our government and industry to the U.S. administration, pointing out the substantial wealth. So taking some credit there for the lower tariff on energy, as opposed to it being necessarily in the self-interest of Americans, not to hit that with the full tariffs. She is willing, she talks about, there's a lot here. I encourage all premiers and federal officials to work on repairing the relationship, especially as the effect of these tariffs begin to take their toll south of the border. Americans need to understand the detrimental consequences. Alberta will also work collaboratively with our federal government and fellow provinces on a proportionate response to the imposed U.S. tariffs through the strategic use of Canadian.
Are we winning yet?
Import tariffs on U.S. goods that are more easily purchased from Canada and non-U.S. suppliers. This is a way to minimize costs. We also continue Alberta's call for the appointment of a drug czar, the securing of our border against illegal migrants and drugs moving in both directions, and to achieve our nation's 2% of GDP. So a lot of the things that have been persistent issues in the Canada-U.S. relationship, Danielle Smith is calling for these to be met. And she also calls on the federal government and fellow provinces to immediately commence a national effort to fast track and build oil and gas pipelines. So what we've seen in a lot of these cases have been various politicians suggesting that the response to Donald Trump's demands is also to deal with some of their demands. And certainly, more pipeline capacity and greater market access outside of the United States is something that Alberta wants. We are getting a sense that the response we're going to get from the federal government, some reporting from a colleague, Mike Crawley, that I've backed up from my conversations, is we're going to see about $20 billion in tariffs on day one, and a much bigger list of things that will come into force in a couple of weeks if things don't change. So how that is a more robust response than had initially been contemplated, I'm not sure, because it differs from a lot of the dollar amounts that we had heard and other media agencies had heard and have been reporting on. But that's where things seem to have landed right now. So
Canadian news is pretty fire. Someone said China is currently winning. True. I mean, anytime we start to alienate our partners, our enemies begin to kind of love it. Jill Christine, thank you.
Perhaps it is that immediate suspended since it has been prorogued. He says we must put Canada first, which is his slogan in a lot of this. Common sense conservatives condemn President Trump's massive unjust and unjustified tariffs on Canada. It's already weak economy. Closest neighbor, closest ally talks about working together and fighting alongside each other in various wars. Says they should retaliate with dollar-for-dollar tariffs, carefully aimed at maximizing impact on American companies while minimizing impact on Canadian consumers. The problem with that is dollar for dollar is very difficult to do in a targeted way. Put the tariff revenue into help for affected workers and businesses. And then he goes on to talk about essentially the other things the government could do is adopt essentially the conservative platform for the economy and tax cuts to help the economy. So we're starting to get reaction coming in long form, multi-page.
Yo, what's up? Give me 1 second to change the microphone output.
No worries. Let me know when I'm clear. 1 second. I'll check my mic real quick.
All right, so everyone in stream. Basically, Trudeau is going to speak in about 2 to 5 minutes. Really quickly, I want to bring on a friend of the show, Hayden. Hayden, you want to introduce yourself and what you do? And then we could talk really quickly about the effects of this.
Yeah, I'm Hayden. I'm the operations supervisor at Midas Touch. I do a lot of work on Tennessee Brando's channel, and I also help out Adam. And yeah, what's going on right now is insane and particularly bad news for a lot of people who voted for Trump. I think a lot of Americans care deeply about housing prices. I don't know anyone who would say, yeah, I voted because I want housing prices to go up. They're not high enough right now. And Trump threatened to increase those. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. And what do you think Canadians are thinking right now? Not Canadians, but it seems like they're all on the same page that they need to do some sort of retaliatory tariffs. I really like the idea of targeting Tesla, doing 100% tariffs on Tesla. And then at the same time, it seems like they want to target red states. So listen to this. Canada has said it has a detailed retaliation plan to the U.S. tariffs that will seek to hurt Republican states the most. What do you think they're thinking? What do you think about lumber? What do you think about everything here?
Yeah, so obviously this is going to hurt Canada because the U.S. is a major trade partner with them. They import and export a lot from us. Although, yeah, as far as softwood lumber goes, I'm not really sure who Canada has as other trade partners. What we may see here is the goods are going to go up in price, not because lumber will stop getting into the United States, but the issue when you do these kind of, for a lack of a better word, idiotic blanket tariffs. For example, right, if we tariffed Chinese semiconductors tomorrow or Chinese electronics, what China is going to do is ship their electronics to a non-tariffed country and then import them that way after changing out the manufacturing labels. So it just increases prices for consumer goods. And in most cases, the goods end up working their way into the United States at a higher price. What this is going to do immediately, regardless of whether they get in through another country or not, is Canadian lumber will be tariffed. So the price of building homes will go up, the price of building stuff like furniture will go up, and Trump has promised some infrastructure projects, and obviously lumber is a big material. I'm not really sure what he thinks this is going to do to deliver on any of his campaign promises, but yeah.
Really quickly, I think they're interviewing some Canadian citizens. Let's see what they have to say.
These are people who are just sort of coming to the realization of what's happening. So why don't we play that tape, and then we'll talk about what some other people are saying. Let's have a look.
I'm a little nervous about it. You know, it could drive up the price of quite a few items, and
this guy's a little bit nervous about it.
It's not good for our economy, and it's not good for theirs.
Well, I think it's disgusting myself. I think we should do everything we can to buy Canadian.
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, but I'm really not surprised. I think that we're Canadian and we can handle it. We're just going to have to be inventive, and we can figure it out.
Seniors have not too many of us have too much money, so you have to watch what you buy.
This is incredibly sad.
But Katie can talk about with folks who certainly understand this better than me.
1 second.
Canada likes a low dollar, right? This is an exporting nation. The film industry, for example.
Has Trudeau come out with anything yet? Let me check the CNN breaking news. But either way, I feel like Trump right now kind of trapped himself in a box. Here's the thing. There's a few different dynamics going on, but Canada already invested $1.2 billion into their border security on the 15th of this month. So Trump already got the concession that he wanted, but he was expecting Trudeau to like come and kiss his hand and do all this. And it seems like Mexico and Canada aren't really playing his game, and now they're just forced to push back. Like, nobody wants this to happen, but Trump just kind of caught himself in this like box because he overpromised and said he was going to do tariffs. Wait, let me play this live and see if...
we have no clue if that's actually going to make a difference. Big concerns here about keeping an eye on the Arctic Passage. Do not for a second, some people are suggesting, think that the references to Greenland are idle, that they believe strongly that Donald Trump has his eye on the Arctic.
So Hayden, what are you most worried about with these tariffs? What do you think the implications are long term on our alliance?
I'm concerned... I mean, who I'm concerned most for with this is really American workers without college degrees, because as it is right now, the U.S. lumber sector, it's not I wouldn't say it's a dead industry. There's obviously people who still major in forestry or go into the trades for it, but a lot of lumber and sawmills, especially in the southern United States, have been closing. And these are kind of the jobs that you can get, and they pay pretty well even if you don't have a college degree. And more Americans are going to be deprived of these opportunities to get into the middle class. And this is really just a lose-lose for everyone.
Yep.
Home prices are going to go up, and this has already been a rough situation because mortgage rates are high. Canadians obviously are going to lose money and lose work opportunities because of the trade war. This doesn't help America, this doesn't help Canada, and it's insane that Trump is going after our allies while not doing the same to Russia or China. He threatened to tariff Europe. It's absurd. It doesn't help any Americans.
I keep saying this talking point over and over, but it actually effing blows my mind that Trump has a nickname for Governor Newsom. He has a nickname for Biden, for Hillary, for Kamala, for Trudeau. but he's never come up with a nickname for Vladimir Putin. If there was a movie where America had like an evil enemy, Putin in Russia would be the enemy in that movie if you were writing a script. They are like our number one enemy. Enemy number one. Yet Trump doesn't have a nickname for him. Really quickly, let me read this off. The White House just said, if Mexico, Canada, and China retaliate, they will increase tariffs even further. Experts also say that Trump's tariffs are very likely to kick off a tit-for-tat retaliation. Quote, I think the likelihood of some kind of retaliation is very high, said Douglas Porter, chief economist at BMO Capital Markets. History shows that's the case. Leaders in Canada, Mexico, and China have already stated they won't just stand idly by. And then the White House did say, if China retaliates, if Canada retaliates, we are going to retaliate even further. And I had a friend of the show, Micah, on stream earlier. He was explaining, rightfully so, that Canada has nothing to do with the influx of fentanyl. Also, fentanyl coming into the United States has decreased, overdoses have decreased, but Canada has nothing to do with it. We have one new update from CNN. We are prepared and ready to fight for Canadians. The country's energy minister says. Oh, I can't speak. Canada, quote, did nothing to provoke tariffs from the United States. That's also the scary part. Like, what did they do to deserve this? Trump just has this weird thought that he's being ripped off. I don't know. He's just posturing. Or he's not posturing anymore. He's just being an asshole. But they're, quote, prepared and ready to fight for its residents, said Jonathan Wilkinson, the country's energy and natural resources minister. Wilkinson said in a post on X, let's read this. Basically what I just read. Canada has done nothing to provoke this, but I want to reassure each and every Canadian, no matter who you are or where you live, we are always prepared to fight for you. Where is Trudeau's statement? Let me go live.
Paige, thank you for standing by.
Trudeau should be speaking any minute, or at least releasing some sort of statement, right?
Yeah, I mean, God, but real quick, the real thing here is, regardless of who Fox News analyzes is going to lose this trade war harder, the thing is, both parties are still losing. Canada doesn't want to be in this position. Trump, for some reason, thinks this is a great idea, and I'm not sure how he's going to spin it. He's probably going to be able to find a way to blame the higher home prices on DEI once it kicks in.
True.
It's absurd, and it's really hurting his core voting demographic are these young, non-college educated men who he appealed to through his podcast circuit. He was trying to really get engaged with this demographic, and he's throwing them the biggest middle finger of all time. If I was a trades worker, I would be the biggest hater of Trump right now. He's depriving our key industries, and it's out of control.
Ooh, okay, I just found the link to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reacts to U.S. tariffs. He was slated to come on at 6 p.m. Eastern time, according to all reports, which should have been 7 minutes ago. But he's probably finding the right. Maybe he got tariffed into oblivion, and maybe his car part he couldn't drive because of the tariffs. Either way, I need to get to a few super chats. You guys are the best. We have 10K watching. Just hang on for 1 second while we wait for Trudeau to take the stage. But really quickly, to all the people that have been, a lot of people are talking about Pierre Poilievre, right? Is that how you say it? Neon Druid. Hello again, Adam. I wanted to inform the chat that the Florida GOP is fighting back against DeSantis. It may shape, what does it say? It may be a shape of things to come. Thank you, Neon. Thank you, Quantum Cricket, Julia O'Shea, Bald Thanos. Jeanette Perkins says, I love the live streams. I'm glad you guys like it. Galactic Moth, pee-pee is poo-poo. Thank you so much. Peter, Canoe Boy, Granny G, Justin. The membership model that we've just launched down below is really sick. A lot of members are joining, and we'll do a whole members only chat later. White House says it was increased tariffs if Mexico, Canada, or China retaliate. Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's really quickly going to turn into this escalatory match where they're constantly retaliating. What would we be talking about right now if Kamala had won? Someone asks. Probably Trump's meltdowns, number one. He would be freaking the fuck out. But also, probably something fun, like, I don't know, small business credits or first-time home buyer incentives so that people could have a discount. Probably something that's not batshit crazy, right? Reality Bites, thank you so much. Let's go back to the Canada.
So I think, like, again, I think in terms of the overall impact on the economy, Canadians know what it feels like to be through a recession. We had one in 2008. We had one in 2020. I think when you look at the numbers that we got from the Bank of Canada or from other forecasters, this would be a modest recession. So we can handle this. Again, we want to limit the duration of this sort of fight. And yeah, there's just a lot of uncertainty. But yeah, with
Really quickly, on the cpac.ca, not the conservative CPAC, but the Canadian one, they said live event will begin shortly. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reacts to U.S. tariffs. It should be beginning very shortly. I'm going to charge my headphones for a second, but yo, Hayden. Really quickly, I need to change my audio output and then we can chat more. One second. Voice and video, audio output device. All right, try to talk. 1 second.
it's going to hurt our export.
For some reason, I can't hear you anymore. Now try.
All right. 1 second. Oh.
There we go. Now it worked for me. It was on my end. My bad. If Kamala would win, we would be focused on the two plane crashes this week. Fox would be blaming her, even though we don't quite know the cause. I mean, dude, they already blamed her. They blamed all women across. They blamed black people, women, Obama, Biden, everybody. Really quickly, we read this earlier, but this is wild. This is wild. When asked about the tariff war between Canada and the United States after the Prime Minister of Canada said he would consider cutting off electricity to America if Donald Trump continues the tariffs, Caroline Leavitt referenced Jesus Christ. Quote, "They want you to panic, but President Trump wants you to remember Jesus didn't have electricity either, and he did just fine." This is what people voted for. People thought they were voting for lower prices, and it ended up being you were going to live like Jesus did. Yikes. Great stream, Canada here. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Marie Lane and D. Reuter, Peter, all of the new members. Mason24, Brian Greiner. Nice membership. Christy Tremble. We've got a lot of Canadian friends in the chat. And here's the thing. You know what's kind of wild? All of the citizens of Canada and America are on the same side. We're all in this chat right now on the same side. And our leaders are the ones dividing us, right?
Yeah. God, the craziest thing about his comment about Jesus, while I think every single Christian should obviously be offended by this, but I'm really not, because he's trying to, I think in his mind, not that he's intelligent, but I'm sure he's kind of running through some of the World War I and World War II propaganda around, hey, we're going to have to make personal sacrifices for the greater good of America. What we can't forget here is that he is harming America right now. He's going to a war with our allies through trade for incomprehensible reasons, hurting our allies and hurting America. This isn't some valiant cause like us fighting Nazi Germany. He's trying to do a weird power play and embarrassing himself and making America poorer in the process.
Yeah, and it's funny that it's funny that he's referencing Jesus Christ after attacking a bishop. Like he attacked a bishop like a week ago, saying she's terrible at her job. Let me skip to live on this CBC.
Very different, right? This is our closest trading partner.
They're bringing out a bunch of Canadian economic experts, so I want to hear what this dude has.
Saying we're not doing things like this anymore. This is not how we're going to do business. So I wonder what that does to the auto sector, for instance. Flavio Volpe is saying, listen, by Friday, we'll be paralyzed. And when you're paralyzed and don't know if you can rely on your partner to start back up again, to me, that seems much more potentially catastrophic.
Yes, and I think that's the word. It's catastrophic. The reality here is that if this does remain the case for a prolonged period of time, the Canadian economy has to completely rebalance and remake itself. And prior instances like that have meant that you're looking at a years-long decline and an economy that comes out of the ashes looking completely different. The problem here is that as you're really alluding to, we just have a lot of uncertainty here. And the amazing thing is that if you look at what markets have been thinking, what economists have been thinking, all through this process, through the campaign, through, the months after the election, right up until today, the expectation has, consistently been that Trump should not be taken seriously, that he's not actually going to do this, and that he's not going to stick to his guns. And it is very true that we may be making the wrong bet.
Let me just ask you finally about the government response, the counter tariff piece, because obviously that has a direct impact on us as well. There'll be some revenue raised that the government can pump back in to support different sectors of the economy. But how important is that, or is it important in your mind?
It's really interesting. It's a dilemma for a lot of people because on one side, a strong response is, politically necessary. We need to do it in order to, firstly, satisfy constituencies at home, as well as, send a message to Donald Trump. But from an economist's perspective, the best actual response to this is to bring our tariffs to zero and not apply taxes on anything being shipped into the United States. And the reason that we would want to do that is that would make our exports more competitive, right? And avoid overtaxing the Canadian economy. So the strange thing here is that, it's a rock and a hard place kind of dynamic. I think ultimately,
I like this Yoda meme. Begun, the trade wars have. But really quickly also, Mexico is currently readying retaliatory tariffs as well, potentially targeting U.S. agriculture. And you know what? If one person's going to pull through, it's going to be Claudia Sheinbaum. She's kind of a badass. I feel like her messaging is somehow better than the Democrats' messaging.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, if this is to anyone who's a Democrat right now, this is kind of a masterclass in how you win over voters. If you just look, since I try to follow international news sometimes because it gives you a broader perspective, if you look at the comment section on any Mexican news articles about Claudia Sheinbaum handling Trump, I've seen so many people, if you go to their profiles, they're clearly living in Mexico. They're saying like, hey, I didn't vote for her and I wasn't really a fan of her politics, but I'm really glad she's standing up for our country and she's won over my support. And it's impressive. She has an 80% approval rating right now by doing what other countries haven't had the balls to do, which is just telling like, hey, Trump, this is my country. Go away. We're not going to put up with your crap. And Democrats need to do that, The people respect it.
She's got like the Vladimir Putin approval ratings, but it's actually legit.
Yeah, we have, by the way, I encourage anyone to fact check me on this. I am pretty sure we have not had a politician in the U.S. have an approval rating at or above 80% since FDR, I believe. That was the last time we had that.
We probably won't for a while with this media landscape. But really quickly, let's read what Sheinbaum said. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum said on Wednesday that she does not believe the United States will impose tariffs on Saturday. She called Donald Trump's bluff. Both of them called Trump's bluff, which is so funny. Quote, we don't think it's going to happen, Sheinbaum said, but retaliatory tariffs would initially exempt the automotive industry, the sources said, sparing what has become Mexico's most important manufacturing sector. But, quote, Mexico is ready to apply retaliatory tariffs of 5%, 10%, 20%, said one of the sources, a Mexican government official. Quote, however, we are still in constant dialogue because the effects would hit both countries. So, like, nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. Quote, the retaliatory tariffs would most likely be on pork products, cheese, apples, grapes, potatoes, cranberries. Man, if these people didn't like the cost of groceries going up before, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. This is not good for his key voting demographics. This is terrible because, and it's really tragic. The key demographics who he won over through economic anxiety are going to be brutally hit by these tariffs because if you're lower income, your grocery bill is a bigger percentage of your income. You can't really afford to have increases like this, and it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah. S. Edwards, thank you so much. Thanks for the live coverage. Mistletoe for the 5 gifted memberships. You guys are the absolute best. The testimony from Howard Lutnick during his confirmation meeting Wednesday provides the latest clues of how the Trump administration will roll out a flurry of new levies. Man, where is Trudeau? If Trudeau's 30 minutes late, increase the tariffs even more because damn, this guy's late. Not actually, but for real, where is this guy? On the side note, Elon Musk now has full access to the Treasury's payment systems. That is scary. And it's also rough because it's like, how do you focus on all of this at once? Are the tariffs just a distraction for the actual Elon Musk takeover? Is it the other way around? Are they both equally as bad? I don't think it's a distraction. I'm just saying, like, how do Democrats focus on both of these things at once? Because Elon Musk is currently doing a hostile takeover. Really quickly, this article says, Trump is starting a trade war. If he actually wants to absorb Canada, what comes next will be worse. Someone said, I'm from Canada. Trudeau is always late. Oh, yeah, okay.
I was trying to figure out his schedule, so I went on Twitter and I saw something saying, like, oh, yeah, it's kind of his classic move to be half an hour late to everything. But, yeah, it's going to be quite an economic awakening for a lot of Americans, I hope.
War. Yeah, an economic war. Begun, the trade wars have, according to Yoda. But going back to this, where was the article I was just reading? There were also some theories that this is the start of a really escalatory path where Trump wants to, and I don't know about this for sure, but Trump wants to annex Canada, which he's totally floated multiple times. Trudeau should be the governor, Canada should be the 51st state, and he begins through tariffs, which will soften some of the Republicans, or it's not Republicans, the Conservative Party in Canada. Prior to his inauguration, Trump threatened to use economic force to compel Canada to become the 51st state of the Union. That would require a whole different level of coercion than what was unleashed today, the kind usually reversed for America's enemies as opposed to allies. What does a full-blown economic war look like? Think sanctions, import and export restrictions, trade embargoes, theft of IP, intellectual property, while dismissing the impact of tariffs on American consumers. Trump made clear recently he believes the U.S. can do without Canadian goods, including cars and milk. It is a kind of shocking rhetoric that chills national security experts because he said, quote, you get rid of that artificially drawn line, it would be much better for U.S. national security. So he could be using the tariffs as a pretext to try to dissolve the border in some way. He calls it an artificially drawn line. Like he's now all of a sudden like, dude, this dude is only talking about borders. Now he's all libertarian.
Yeah, and Adam, I think the audience would also appreciate clarification on this. But who do you think's benefiting most from this? Who's winning when Trump does stuff like this?
Who exactly is winning? Well, broadly speaking, in both countries, nobody. But
on a global scale, like who's benefiting from their
enemies? China, Russia, Iran. They all benefit whenever the U.S. begins to break up its alliances like this or isolate ourselves on the world stage. It opens up a power vacuum where countries like Iran, like Russia, China, Iran. Oh yeah, people in the chat caught on quicker to the question.
Yeah, I'm seeing you. Yeah, I'm paying attention to the YouTube chat too. You guys are spot on.
Yeah, spot on.
Jesus Christ, it's actually insane to think about, but all of these Russian efforts to misinform the American public, all of these, I know Russia does it more than China, but I'm sure China's engaged in some of this too. Dude, China and Russia, even if they were paying billions, could not even dream to undermine the West as much as Trump is doing. Russia would spend billions and billions of dollars if they could somehow make all of Europe and Canada and all these actors in the West get into these dumb fights over trade. And Trump's doing it for Putin. And it's unbelievable. He's just playing right into Putin's hand. This is the biggest win for Putin ever that you could even imagine. You couldn't give him a gift as good if you tried.
Putin's salivating, and he's not even the one that had to make the investment. It was mainly Elon Musk who made a $44 billion investment into Twitter, invested another $200 million of his personal wealth, all culminating into Trump winning. And of course, Russian interference, not in the sense that they were hacking into our machines, but Russian interference in the sense that they're waging an information war played a big, big role. Because think about it. Russia knows that launching a ground war against the United States, number one, they'd lose it. Number two, impossible due to geographical reasons. Number three, incredibly expensive. So what's less expensive than a ground war and less of a catastrophe?
Yeah.
An information war. Ever since 2013, 2014, when Russia tried to annex Crimea, they've been ramping up their information warfare. And they've been refining these tactics since the Cold War. I read this book. It's called Russia's War on Everybody. And they said that since the Cold War, Russia's been refining these psyop tactics, psychological operations. And now they've kind of hit this point where they just know how to manipulate and divide the American people.
Yeah, it's honestly not that I think it flipped any certain election outcomes. I mean, it could. There's no way to statistically measure it, but it really is concerning the amount of political discourse on the right that just is completely funded by Russia. Tim Pool was taking $100,000 per episode. Adam, I know you wish you got ad rates like that. It's insane.
For
and
real.
It was from Russia, and he's facing no criminal consequences from it. Imagine if an just guys, if you want to rationalize this, imagine the absolute hailfire that would come down if we found out an MSNBC host or even Adam Mockler was taking $100,000 per episode from an enemy of America. This is something that should send you to jail, and it's just fine. They'll never face consequences.
Speaking of enemies of America, Canada or Mexico, if you guys want to shoot me $100,000 since you guys are guessing new enemies somehow, fuck. We live in the dumbest timeline ever. Most of the project's research thus far has focused on the under-the-radar economic coercion China has directed towards Canada, but now it seems like Trump is trying to replicate the same thing. Sorry, I just jumped back to this article I was reading. Yeah, we are thoroughly cooked. U.S. to increase tariffs if Canada retaliates. Damn. Senior FBI official forcefully resisted Trump administration firings. Wait, I want to read this really quickly. Brian Driscoll, the acting FBI director and head of the Bureau's Newark field office, pushed back so aggressively that some feared it could turn bad. Acting FBI director on Friday refused a Justice Department order that he assist in the firing of agents involved in the January 6th riot cases, pushing back so forcefully that some FBI officials feared he would be dismissed. Wow. So he got pissed. And remember, the FBI is already an agency that is predisposed to liking and helping Trump. Where the fuck is Trudeau, by the way? Trudeau's got to come out here. You can't be late. I bet you Trump's sitting there in the White House too, just waiting for Trudeau's response, like kicking his feet, drinking Diet Coke. Not that I can speak. Fuck.
I unfortunately have a Diet Coke on my desk too.
You understand how it's like a sweet release from all the absolutely insane shit. You just gotta. They moved it to 6:30.
Nature can't produce something this special and delicious, you know.
Yeah. Now it sounds like we're being plugged by Diet Coke, like we're being sponsored by them. There's no sponsor. I just like Diet Coke. Really quickly, CNN update: there is no such thing as an all-American car. That's why tariffs would especially hurt that market, referring to the car market. Automakers have operated as if Canada, Mexico, and the United States were one unified market for decades, which has benefited us. This benefits us. Oh, someone in chat said, I'm using real Coke. Okay. Nice. Automakers have operated as if we're one unified market. I mean, what else are you going to do other than doing real Coke under the Trump admin? Fuck. Moving vehicles and parts across borders as they assemble vehicles. Even cars assembled at the U.S. auto plants all have parts that come from both Mexico and Canada, and vehicles assembled in those two countries have parts that come from U.S. factories. Accordingly, there's no such thing as an all-American vehicle. And it's just not even something that's possible. Like I was saying this earlier, but if you're going to try to reshore manufacturing, you have to give a grace period. And, you know, the first person I heard say this was Elon Musk years ago, surprisingly. Elon Musk was talking about SpaceX, and he was saying, you know, we can reshore manufacturing, but we just need a grace period in order to build the actual plants and everything. And it's like, brother, now Trump's not doing that. So tariffs on exports crossing the U.S. border with Canada and Mexico are bound to raise the price to produce passenger cars and trucks and lead to Americans paying more for their vehicles as automakers likely pass those costs on to consumers. Man, if you guys thought gas prices sucked, wait until the actual cars are more expensive.
Yeah. Trump supporters are going to crash out when they go to the Ford dealership and it's like $200,000 for a base model F-150.
Yeah, true. And then they buy the F-150 and then their gas prices are that much more expensive. And they're like, oh, these fucking, someone said.
Clearly the fault of DEI, by the way.
Someone said I need to stock up on Coke before the tariffs hit Mexico. Which kind of Coke are we referring to? Which one are we talking about now? I'm confused. We were talking about Diet Coke. Auto companies may cut back production of some models to see how the fight over tariff plays out. Wait, we have a new update. How it could affect steel. Man, we're just waiting for Trudeau. Did he move it back a few minutes? He could be coming out in 2 minutes. Let me look this up. Ben Mycelis really quickly tweeted out, In imposing 25% tariffs on Canada, Trump essentially proclaims Canada must be punished for being a narco state responsible for the, quote, scourge of fentanyl in America. The level of disrespect here is intense. Yeah, especially for one of our closest allies. Like, I say closest a lot, and when I say closest, I don't just mean geopolitically, because of course they're a neighbor, but like Canada has been by our side forever. And when I say by our side, I don't mean literally, I mean like they are one of our best friends. Yeah, and so is Colombia, so is Panama, all of these countries. So is Denmark. The Denmark thing really I find offensive. Like, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of just unbelievable how every single enemy that Trump identified on the campaign, where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fight China. We've got this. He's helping China right now. And I've seen some conservatives on Twitter trying to say, well, Trump tariffed China too, so he's really harming China, which he promised. But no, American manufacturers who use Chinese goods as input items, and just American companies who buy Chinese stuff in general will be paying these tariffs. The consumers, and by consumers I mean the businesses, pay the tariffs and then pass it on to you. It's not the other way around.
Jesse Single said on Twitter, I have to admit, I'm still confused about what Canada did. And the top response is from a MAGA person, they know what they did. Like that doesn't clarify anything. They're all just bullshitting. They know what they did. Okay, what did they do? Oh, you'll find out soon. It's like when they're just coming up with excuses like little kids.
Yeah.
Ooh. What about these stickers? My tariffs did that.
We should sell those. That'd be great.
Yeah, the new liberals are already doing it, but this is kind of funny.
Oh no, they beat us to it. How dare they? No.
This says, unfortunately, in an ironic twist, Donald Trump's extreme tariff agenda has hit our My Tariff Did That stickers, and we've been forced to raise the price of our stickers. Now the My Tariffs Did That stickers, they put the sticker pointing towards the sticker. You guys get it? It's like stickerception here. $1 each. Yeah, these are good. My tariffs did that. I don't know if anyone actually wants to buy these yet, but I'll link them in chat. I mean, did you guys see anyone in chat? I want you to type yes or no. Yes, if you saw any gas nozzle or no, any gas stations with the I did that Biden sticker over the past 4 years. I have seen
so many.
I had to take some off myself. And when you take them off, there's still like the remnants of the sticker, right? There's still the remnants. You can still see the remnants of the sticker. We're getting a lot of no, yes. A lot of people are saying yes, the I did that stickers.
Yeah, it's the one thing I think this is really disturbing when commentators who know better do this on the right, where when Biden was president, they're like, Joe Biden is ruining our gas prices. Biden's the reason why groceries are so expensive. And now we get them so sophisticated, giving us their lecture on economics about how the president actually doesn't control prices. And well, technically, where was this knowledge and depth of economic understanding 2 years ago? I mean, it's shocking.
Yeah, they all of a sudden have a really nuanced view. YouTube Live is waiting. Premiere starts at 6:45, which means 5:45. No way they keep moving it back.
They tariffed the American camera equipment, so they're
real. They tariffed the clock so hard that no one knows what time it is in Canada.
They tariffed the clock.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah, and also something to understand about tariffs like this, when, for example, lumber gets a 25% tariff. If we're just taking an example where you have a basket of goods that are $100 and then tariffs hit, those basket of goods aren't going to increase by 25%. Keep in mind, these vendors have to build in profit margins so they can stay consistently in business. So the actual increase on the price of goods is going to be way more than 25% in most cases. So this is going to hit hard.
Summary, we're cooked. We
so
are
cooked. So cooked. Young men are cooked. If you want to buy a house, Trump just made it a lot harder.
Yeah. It's definitely not good, but the one silver lining is, if anything is going to cripple the MAGA movement, it's going to be higher prices. And I know that hurts the average American, but sorry, 1 second. Yeah, the thing is, like, I saw this quote the other day. It was like, at the end of the 4 years, either the MAGA movement's going to survive or the country is going to survive. It's either or. So either something happens where the MAGA movement crumbles, like higher prices, or like America survives. America survives in the MAGA movement. So maybe was that the quote? Either MAGA falls or America flourishes, something like that.
That's pretty spot on. It's pretty spot
Saying
on.
that, like, yeah, like if the MAGA movement doesn't get some sort of consequences for their actions, then America will fall long term. So the short term pain, it's funny. Trump said something to the effect of the short term pain will be worth it for the long term gain. Maybe it will be from the liberal perspective. If the prices are higher in the short term, but it means the MAGA movement slowly falls apart and Elon Musk gets tariffed really hard and this and that, then maybe it will be worth it. Adam Trudeau isn't going to start his briefing while the NTSB is live talking about the DC crash. Is that what it is? Is that why they're waiting? Someone in chat said that.
Yeah. And if we really try to think about what makes America great, it's a lot of our cultural exports. Something that I found really cool when I was in the Bahamas was just how much cultural familiarity they had with American pop culture, American music, all of this great stuff we produce. American cultural exports are so strong that Canada had to pass laws mandating that some domestically produced entertainment content would be aired on TV. That's how powerful we are. And for some reason, Trump and MAGA wants to trade away all of the great stuff America has accomplished on a global scale for the idea that we'll have manufacturing jobs, which isn't even true. They want to make our economy less skilled, and they're not even going to succeed at that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, really quickly, thank you everybody for being here on this live stream. We're just waiting for Trudeau to hop on any second he should, any minute now.
They tariff the clocks.
Yeah, did they tariff the clocks in Canada so badly? Because damn. I just had the tab pulled up where he was speaking. One second, where did that go? But yeah, I'm excited to hear what he says. If they actually do what was floated on CNN, at least, if they actually tariff red states, or did they do some sort of targeted surgical tariff that hurts red states disproportionately? I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my red state folks in the chat, but God, these Trump supporters need to get smacked upside the face. They need to get put in check a little bit. And tariffing red states will majorly hurt certain Republicans. Let me find this article that I made a video about earlier. John Thune has been caught in the crossfire of Trump's tariffs. Okay, how Trump's trade war could put John Thune in an uncomfortable spot. Promised tariffs on Canada and Mexico could decimate the economy of the Senate Majority Leader's home state. Maybe the reason why Trump is tariffing Trudeau is because of how he acts with Melania. Look at this. Is this why? Have we just cracked the code right here? Hayden just sent me this picture.
Our cuckold in chief right now.
Yeah, for real. While he's walking away, this has happened multiple times too. By the way, this has happened multiple times.
Yeah, they don't. It's such a bizarre marriage. They don't sleep in the same bed. They barely talk to each other. She refuses to show up to anything. Ben has made some good videos about this, but really, if we're going for how much they crap on Pete Buttigieg for the crime of being gay with a child, I know how terrible of him to do that. He's an involved father. Trump isn't an involved father, and his partner hates him. He's not in a loving relationship.
Yeah, I just saw this viral tweet that backs up what we were talking about. It says Trudeau was to start his address at 6 p.m. That's over half an hour ago. He's notorious for being late. What a guy. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I was wondering if I was the one that's tweaking. I'm like, is it actually a different time? But no, he was supposed to start 38 minutes ago. He's running late for his 6 p.m. address.
He's driving to Costco in Buffalo, New York right now to stock up on tariffed goods.
Yeah, for real. Oh, wait, the Canada Bureau Chief, somebody that works for a news organization, someone said, I am told that Canada is going to push ahead with its retaliatory measure plan against the United States following the introduction of tariffs. PM Trudeau is running late for a 6 p.m. address. I just want one of these world leaders to be kind of a bully to Trump. Like, I just want them to say genuinely mean things. Why can't they just say, this guy is a weak, whiny crybaby? As much as I think Kamala Harris completely destroyed him in the debate, how cathartic would it have been if she went on stage and she was just like, the man across from me is a weak, whiny crybaby. This dude is an absolute POS. She did well. I'm just listening against her. I'm just saying, like, man, I want to see somebody bully this guy.
People in the chat are saying Trudeau is speaking at 8 Eastern. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's the rumor on the streets.
Let me check this. Boom boom.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, apparently it has been delayed until 8 p.m.
Classic.
Lord have mercy.
Classic move. I non-zero chance he's at Costco right now.
Yeah, classic Canadian move.
Somebody said 8:30 Eastern. Oh no.
They're already moving it back more.
I don't know if that was true. That could have been a joke. But
nah, the CBC does say that Trudeau's response is coming later. Let's see what they're talking about live on the Canadian broadcast.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm fascinated to know how they react.
Canadian retaliatory tariffs hurt in some of these industries. Are they going to go after bigger political symbols? So, those are sort of the little things that are going to develop the relationship, make Canadians sort of stoke reaction from Canadians.
Adam, your audio feed's roboting a little bit. You might want to refresh the tab. It sounds a little robot right now.
Audio messed up. My bad. Wait, is it my audio or the audio of this?
It's the tab on CBC, the Canadian news.
How does this sound?
1 second.
Robot audio. Someone said RFK plugin. Good one.
We're facing the same issue right now. You might want to try refreshing the tab, maybe.
Bad audio, still bad, the same, whatever.
Oh no.
No, Canadians are just chain smoking cigarettes before they get tariffed, and that's why their voices are all fucked up. The RFK Jr. All right, we don't need to listen to CBC right now. Really quickly, I was reading this article. Oh, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find some just like Canadian news sources where there's comments.
Yeah, I don't know why the audio was bad. My bad. But no congressional leader is more at risk of getting caught in the crossfire than Senate Majority Leader John Thune when referring to Trump's tariffs. Trump said Thursday he's ready to slap sweeping 25% tariffs, and Thune knows the stakes all too well. Retaliatory tariffs during Trump's 2018 trade war with China crippled South Dakota's agriculture-dependent economy, which relies on the billions of dollars of worth soybeans, corn, beef, and other agricultural products it exports abroad every year, plus even more in manufactured goods. Farmers there are still reeling from their losses in a standoff with Canada and Mexico, which are now American farmers' two largest export markets, would be devastating. Yeah, I mean, if they can do a targeted hit against red states, I would kind of love that. I've said this a few times. Sorry, red state people, but that would be really, really cool. It would be really...
Texas.
It's a type of smack across the face that Donald Trump really, really deserves. You know, like as much as he's a dumbass, sometimes it feels like people are too worried to punch back like they should. When it's just like, I don't know. Just smack him across the face.
Yeah, the list of goods and products that will be impacted by this is almost too high to calculate. But yeah, this is
Lisa Catherine. Thank you for the membership. She is you are one of my. You are always the first on my videos. I love seeing your comment every time. It makes my day. Mr. Ancient Culture. It would also be funny if the nation known as one of the kindest people on earth would slap Trump hard and show him his place. I would love that. Please, at some point, just rip the Band-Aid off. Just
somebody said CBC confirms 8:30 p.m. EST.
Damn, they're moving it back further and further. All right, well, I might go make some videos then, and then we can come back. But
For sure.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the tariffs. Yo, everybody that's been here, thank you so much. If you guys like the live streams, then yeah, turn on post notifications. Check my channel because I think I'm gonna do live streams every day. We had a really fun live stream yesterday. Today's was even more fun. I think we're gonna go chill for a bit. I gotta go record some videos, do some work, and yeah. Thanks for hopping on, Hayden, Midas Touch editor.
Absolutely. Real quick, everyone, go to adammockler.com and subscribe to the Substack.
Yes. Why haven't I been plugging that? Adammockler.com.
Adammockler.com. That's the website.
We are doing daily write-ups on things that are going on. Let me spam link it in chat a little bit.
Yeah.
No one else is allowed to spam, but I can
super
spam.
super easy to find. Comes right to your inbox. Big and beautiful pieces of writing.
It's amazing. The one piece there's a few pieces you should read. Trump is ruining America's greatness for Gen Z. All of them. We only have 3. So there's Trump is ruining America's greatness for Gen Z. Also, Not All Men by our contributor Arya. Arya basically writes about Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Matt Gaetz. You get to hear the perspective of a 19-year-old woman, how it is growing up during your formative years, seeing Pete Hegseth rise to power, Matt Gaetz rise to power. All of the Republicans then run defense for Pete Hegseth and Matt Gaetz. So it's some really interesting stuff. If you want to subscribe to the Substack, I highly recommend it. We're going to be doing a lot of Gen Z analysis. We were one of the first people to break the story that Trump freezes Medicaid in some states because a senator told me on my show. So yeah, love all of you guys. Might be live later, but either way, I'm going to go crank out some videos. So yeah, see ya. Peace out, Hayden.
Have a good one.
Love all you guys. Peace out. Boom. How many booms?